To build a Mecha, my secret stash was exposed by my wife. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 51 Hidden Event arrives. Unexpectedly it's Suzette. Therefore, Suzette called his assistant early on, instructing him to arrange things according to his instructions. Xiaolan and Sunli also noticed the comments in the live stream. Xiaolan spoke up, I think the brand of this glass is Yaoli glass. In my memory, Yaoli glass doesn't seem to have held any similar events. Professor Sun, you're an expert in this field, do you remember any related events? Hearing Xiaolan's words, Sunli thought for a moment, checked his phone, and then answered very confidently, I checked, and Yaoli glass definitely hasn't held any related events. However, since a viewer mentioned it, we can't assume the event doesn't exist just because we haven't found it. How about this? I happen to know the person in charge of publicity and event planning at Yaoli Glass Group. All of Yaoli Glass's planned events go through him. Whether Yaoli Glass Group has held this event or not, we can find out with a simple question. Although Sunli said this, Bingbing, Xiaolan, and most of the viewers in the live stream trusted Sunli's expertise. Since Sunli hadn't seen such an event, it was highly likely that the event didn't exist. Although Yaoli Glass enjoys a global reputation, running a business isn't charity. What company would replace an ordinary wood carving worth a few thousand yuan with one made of agar wood worth millions or even tens of millions? While it might be believable if the event was widely known, the fact that no one knew about such a huge prize speaks volumes. Without hesitation, Sunli picked up his phone, found the person in charge's number, and dialed it under everyone's watchful eyes. Hello, is this Mr. Wang? This is Sunli. Do you have time? I have some questions for you, Sunli said to Wang Huan on the other end of the line as soon as the call connected. At the same time, Sunli turned on the speakerphone so that Gao Luofei, Bingbing, and the viewers in the live stream could hear the conversation. Mr. Sun, yes, I have time. Please feel free to ask me anything, Wang Huan said warmly after Sunli finished speaking. Mr. Wang, it's like this, I don't know if your company has ever held a similar event, where you secretly replaced the wood carvings embedded in the glass with agar wood. Sunli briefly explained the situation to the other party. Just when everyone thought Wang Huan would directly say that there was no such event, what the other party said next completely surprised everyone. Wang Huan said with certainty, yes, it was that event, Mr. Sun. Yaoli Glass did indeed hold such an event. Mr. Wang, are you sure you're not mistaken? Think about it carefully, Mr. Sun, I'm not mistaken. The reason why this event was held, and secretly at that, was just to give our Yaoli Glass customers a surprise, so we didn't publicize it much. From what Mr. Sun said, it seems that our lucky customer has been discovered, but it's a pity that the wood carving was damaged. Hearing Wang Huan's explanation, Sunli understood that there really was such an event. What? There really is such an event? My god, Yaoli Glass is so generous. Why wasn't it me? I made millions. Suzette is incredibly lucky. Anyone who can marry the goddess Gao Luofei is truly blessed. I really didn't expect this. It seems Suzette's secret stash of money can't be increased. After hanging up the phone, Sunli said, it's not your fault, Mr. Sun. Even President Wang of Yaoli Glass said that this event was held in secret. It's understandable that you didn't know, Bingbing said to Sunli. Gao Luofei was relieved to hear this result. So Suzette wasn't lying to her. He just happened to stumble upon Yaoli Glass's secret event. Thinking that Suzette hadn't lied to her, Gao Luofei was very happy, and her expression was noticeably different from before. However, some viewers in the live stream who liked to join in the fun weren't too satisfied with this result. No, something feels off. Although Wang Huan's explanation makes sense, something still feels off. Do you think Wang Huan might be helping Suzette lie? Yeah, I also feel something's not right. Exactly. Put yourselves in his shoes. If you were the head of Yaoli Glass, would you secretly organize such an event, especially one that costs millions? Seeing the other viewers' comments, some viewers chuckled and then sent their own comments in rebuttal. Are you all elementary school students? Can't you have some common sense? Do you even know how much Yaoli Glass's total annual sales are? 10 billion. You know, Yaoli Glass has only been established for less than 2 years, yet its sales have already exceeded 10 billion. Everyone in the industry believes that within the next 5 years, it will definitely be a giant with a market value of hundreds of billions. Do you think they would cooperate with SUSE to pull something like this? As an event planner for a Fortune 500 company, I can responsibly tell you all that such an event cannot be handled by a single person in charge. It must have been approved by the chairman. In other words, no matter how bold Wang Huan is, even if he and SUSE are best friends, he wouldn't dare lie about something like this. Those people who posted comments earlier, although Yaoli Glass is a private company, you don't actually believe that Yaoli Glass belongs to SUSE, do you? Exactly. Don't you think that if you had a company with a future market value of hundreds of billions, would you keep it a secret forever? Chapter 52. He spent 100 million on other women. A flood of rebuttal comments instantly appeared in the live stream. After seeing the content of these comments, other viewers who had initially wavered laughed at their own foolish thoughts. What had gotten into them? How could they have thought Yaoli Glass was SUSE's company? After Wang Huan hung up the phone, he began to mutter to himself, who exactly is this SUSE? He actually got the president to personally arrange such a non-existent event. SUSE's abilities are terrifying. As a high-level manager, Wang Huan knew that some things he didn't need to know too much about. Since he didn't know SUSE's identity, it meant that his current position didn't warrant knowing. However, although he didn't know SUSE's specific identity, Wang Huan understood one thing: SUSE was definitely someone he couldn't afford to offend. Wang Huan firmly memorized SUSE's name. Luofei, is there something you can't find? Hearing what Li Jianguo said, Gao Luofei asked curiously, Grandpa Li, what is it? Gao Luofei thought about it, but she couldn't think of anything she couldn't find. Seeing Gao Luofei's confusion, Li Jianguo assumed she had forgotten because of the time that had passed, so he said directly, see, you forgot? Here, take this. Keep your things safe in the future, don't lose anything. With that, Li Jianguo took out the 2 Louis Vuitton and Hermes diamond black cards from his jacket pocket and handed them to Gao Luofei. How could I forget about this? SUSE exclaimed, suddenly remembering upon seeing the 2 diamond black cards. He had casually hidden the Louis Vuitton and Hermes diamond black cards at the feet of the Mecha when he got them. Normally, Gao Luofei wouldn't have noticed them, no matter where the Mecha was. But now that he had driven the Mecha away, naturally, Li Jianguo had found the 2 diamond black cards that had been hidden so well. Gao Luofei, looking puzzled, accepted 2 Louis Vuitton, LV, and Hermes diamond black cards from academician Li Jianguo. As a national goddess, Gao Luofei was very familiar with membership cards from various luxury brands. Therefore, after seeing the 2 black cards academician Li Jianguo handed her, she recognized them immediately. These 2 cards were indeed Louis Vuitton, LV, and Hermes diamond black cards, only obtainable by those with assets exceeding 500 million and cumulative spending of 50 million at various stores worldwide. She had no right to possess such black cards. How could academician Li Jianguo claim them as his? Like Gao Luofei, Bingbing, Zhaolan, and Sun Li also immediately recognized them. How could they not be curious about the presence of such diamond black cards, possessed only by a select few? Here. Grandpa Li, where did you find these 2 cards? Hearing Gao Luofei's question, academician Li Jianguo replied directly, didn't SUSE just leave in his Mecha? I found these 2 cards where the Mecha was originally located. Seeing that both cards were from women's luxury brands, I figured they must belong to you, Luofei. However, after seeing Gao Luofei's current reaction, academician Li Jianguo realized that these 2 membership cards probably didn't belong to her. Since they weren't Gao Luofei's, besides her, only SUSE remained in the house. That meant these 2 diamond black cards belonged to SUSE. Academician Li Jianguo's thoughts were exactly what Gao Luofei was thinking. Coincidentally, after realizing this, Gao Luofei carefully examined the details of the 2 diamond black cards again. Then, Gao Luofei engraved the letter ZS on the lower right corner of the front of both diamond black cards. ZS, those are the initials of SUSE's name. These 2 letters definitively prove that the owner of these 2 diamond black cards is none other than SUSE. Since SUSE owns 2 diamond black cards, it means he not only has total assets of 500 million yuan, but also spent 50 million yuan each at Louis Vuitton and Hermes. Gao Luofei wasn't too concerned about the 500 million yuan in assets at this moment. What concerned her was Suze's spending of 50 million yuan each at Louis Vuitton and Hermes. From the time she met Suze to their marriage, and even now, the total value of the luxury goods she received from him from these two brands was less than 100,000 yuan, 50 million yuan. That could buy so many clothes, bags, and cosmetics. Compared to the 100,000 yuan Suze spent on her, it was a world of difference, not even a tiny bit. The thought of her beloved man buying so many gifts for other women made Gao Luofei very sad. Although Bingbing wasn't entirely clear on Gao Luofei's inner turmoil, she could roughly understand it. Bingbing held Gao Luofei's hand without saying a word. Meanwhile, many viewers in the live stream were completely bewildered by what they were seeing. They couldn't understand the situation at all. What are these two black cards? Why is the goddess reacting so strongly? To be honest, I also have Louis Vuitton and Hermes membership cards, but mine are different from these two. Looking at the brand logos on the cards, aren't they Louis Vuitton and Hermes? What does this mean? Seeing the confused comments in the live stream, Zhao Lan explained, these two black cards are Louis Vuitton and Hermes diamond black cards. Only those with total assets of 500 million and a total spending of 50 million at each of the two brand stores can obtain them. With this card, you can enjoy a 30% discount. Chapter 53. Holy crap, it's really not mine. After Zhao Lan's explanation, the viewers in the live stream finally understood what the two small cards represented. The chat exploded with comments. This world is crazy. The world of the rich is so luxurious. Spending 100 million on luxury goods, what does that feel like? 500 million? Suze's assets are 500 million? Are you kidding me? Is Suze really a cunning tycoon pretending to be weak? Suze, is it too late for me to apologize, boss? Do you still have enough leg hair? I want to hug you. No, although the black card has the letters ZS, there are so many names that start with those letters. It doesn't necessarily have to be Suzette. Honey, can you explain what these two cards are all about? Although Gao Luofei looked alright, without a hint of anger, her tone was laced with resentment. Gao Luofei stared at Suzette, wanting to see how he would explain the two diamond black cards. Seeing this huge contrast in Gao Luofei's demeanor, the viewers in the live stream were amused. Haha, the scene changed so much. 1 second they were a loving couple, the next they were in a massive interrogation. I love this scene, give us more. I'll see how Suze explains it, whether he can satisfy the goddess. Under Gao Luofei's gaze, although Suze didn't show much reaction on the surface, his mind was frantically devising a plan. Seeing that Suze didn't answer for a long time, Gao Luofei sneered and said, honey, you're not going to say this card isn't yours, are you? This card has your name on it, my name on it. Suze really wasn't sure about what Gao Luofei was talking about. Seeing that Suze didn't believe her, Gao Luofei took the Louis Vuitton diamond black card and brought it to Suzette, pointing to the ZS on the corner of the card and saying, see this ZS? That's the first letter of your name. You're not telling me this isn't it, are you? Suze looked at the spot Gao Luofei was pointing to, and it really was. However, Gao Luofei's words reminded Suze of a good idea. It's not like I'm the only one with ZS in their name. Immediately, Suzette, having come up with a good idea, said to Gao Luofei, wife, you're so smart. You're right, this card really isn't mine. If it's not yours, whose is it? Gao Luofei quietly looked at Suze's reply. Wife, the ZS written on these two cards isn't me, it's Songzhou, Suze said. Songzhou's. Gao Luofei recognized Songzhou. When Gao Luofei and Suze got married, not many people came from Suze's side, and most of them left after offering their blessings. Only Songzhou was busy with the wedding arrangements from beginning to end. Gao Luofei had heard Suze mention that Songzhou was his only friend since childhood. Gao Luofei had also heard Suze say that Songzhou was a businessman, but she didn't know what kind of business he was in, though she heard it was quite large. If it truly belongs to Songzhou, then the ZS engraved on the diamond black card makes sense, since Songzhou's initials are also ZS. In fact, Gao Luofei's information about Songzhou is correct. Songzhou is indeed in business, but the business he manages is Suze's. In other words, Songzhou is essentially Suze's assistant. Whenever Suze needs his companies to do something, Songzhou is responsible for relaying the message. Honey, it's like this, our wedding anniversary is in a few days, and I was planning to buy you a Louis Vuitton outfit and a Hermes bag, a while ago. I mentioned this idea to Songzhou, and he happened to have these 2 diamond black cards, so he gave them to me, saying it would give me a discount on the Louis Vuitton and Hermes. Then, I was assembling my Mecha that day, and after I finished, I couldn't find the 2 diamond black cards anywhere. Now it seems they fell at the feet of the Mecha. No wonder I couldn't find them. I was worried about how to explain to Songzhou when he asked for the 2 diamond black cards, but I didn't expect you to find them, honey. Thank you so much. After explaining, Suze hugged Gao Luofei. Is that really true? Hearing Suze's explanation, Gao Luofei expressed some doubt. Not only Gao Luofei and Bingbing found Suze's explanation far-fetched, but many viewers in the live stream also expressed disbelief. I don't accept this reason. What a coincidence. Suze paused for a second when he spoke just now. As a psychologist, I highly suspect that Suze is lying. Seeing that Gao Luofei didn't believe him, Suze said directly, how about this, wife, if you really don't believe me, I'll call Songzhou now to confirm this. Suze was originally just joking, but seeing that Gao Luofei didn't refuse, Suze dialed Songzhou's number. Anyway, Suze believed that Songzhou was definitely watching his live broadcast now and definitely knew what was happening. Therefore, Suze believed that Songzhou definitely knew what to do. Hey, Lao Su, what's up with calling me? As Suze expected, Songzhou was watching the official live broadcast of the Finding Hidden Money program. Therefore, Songzhou immediately grasped the problem Suze was facing. Hearing the coded meaning in Songzhou's words, Suze understood Songzhou's meaning. Since Songzhou knew the situation he was facing, Suze wasn't worried about anything. Chapter 54 Wife, what do you want to do? I'll go with you. Old song, what are you saying? Can't I call you if there's nothing wrong? Suze said with a chuckle. After Suze finished speaking, Songzhou replied, you little rascal, I'm busy right now, so I won't chat with you any longer. By the way, when are you going to return those 2 diamond black cards to me? You've borrowed those 2 diamond black cards for over a month now, you're not going to forget about returning them, are you? Hearing Songzhou's words, Suze glanced at Gao Luofei, then replied with a chuckle, of course not, I've just been busy lately and haven't had a chance to use them. I'll return them in a few days. Okay, hurry up, it's almost a holiday, and I need to prepare a gift for my girlfriend. After Suze finished speaking, Songzhou added, alright, I understand. I have things to do, I'm hanging up. Suze knew Songzhou was a chatterbox, and if he said anything more, some of his words might be noticed as suspicious. Therefore, Suze decided to stop while he was ahead. Since he could explain himself, Suze hung up the phone. Wife, you heard it too. These 2 black cards really aren't mine. Wife, I'm sorry, I was planning to buy you a surprise gift, but I accidentally lost the cards. So, Gao Luofei had overheard Suze and Songzhou's conversation. After hearing what Songzhou said, Gao Luofei realized that the 2 diamond black cards really were Songzhou's, and she had misunderstood Suze. Thinking about how Suze had done such a great thing today, and how she had misunderstood him, thinking he was buying things for another woman, made Gao Luofei feel very guilty. Husband, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you about this. Seeing Gao Luofei's guilty expression, Suze hugged her and comforted her. It's okay, it's not your fault. As he spoke, Suze also apologized to Gao Luofei in his heart. Wife, I'm sorry, actually I wanted to tell you everything, but the time wasn't right, so I can only apologize. Seeing that it was a misunderstanding, the viewers in the live stream felt a little disappointed. It's not Suze's. I thought I was going to see another memorable scene. Who is Suze's friend? He seems really rich. He spent over 100 million on his girlfriend's things. So extravagant, I'm so envious. Can I have his contact information? Honey, since Songzhou is in such a hurry, why don't you return the card to him today? No need to rush, honey. Isn't tomorrow our wedding anniversary? We can go shopping together then. With his card, we can get a discount, right? Hearing what Suze said, Gao Luofei nodded. The matter passed without incident. In the blink of an eye, Gao Luofei thought about the appraisal certificate inside the Mecha and the jewelry worth nearly 30 million that Suze had given her. Gao Luofei asked Suze again, honey, do you remember the Josephine Blue Moon, the Jella Pink Diamond, and the Ice Heart Love you haven't given me yet, which you've put in the Mecha? When you went to the study earlier, I asked Sister Lan and Brother Sun, and they said they were all real. What's going on? Can you explain it to me? Suzette didn't make up any excuses for Gao Luofei's question and directly admitted, "Wife, I'll be honest with you. Those pieces of jewelry I gave you were indeed real. I bought them with my secret stash of money." Hearing Suzette's admission, Gao Luofei wasn't angry about hearing about his secret stash of money. Instead, she said, "Honey, why did you buy such expensive jewelry? I don't wear it often, it's such a waste to just leave it there." "Wife, didn't you say you liked those pieces? Since you liked them, and I had the means, I bought them. As for the money, my main job pays too little, so I was thinking of finding a side job. It just so happened that Songzhou needed some help with some work, so I helped him develop some things, and he gave me some payment. Originally, I planned to give it to you, but I thought I'd keep some money on me. If you like something, I can buy it for you. I hope you don't mind, my wife." As Suzette spoke, he brushed a strand of hair from Gao Luofei's forehead, looking at her with tender eyes. "Husband, how could I blame you?" Suzette spent his own money on such expensive things not because he wanted to enjoy them himself, but to fulfill Gao Luofei's wishes. Since that was the case, how could Gao Luofei possibly blame Suzette? "Husband, since it's Songzhou's payment to you, you can keep it yourself. I won't mind. But husband, buy yourself whatever you need. Don't just buy me whatever I want. If I ever want to go to the moon, will you still grant my wish?" Gao Luofei straightened Suzette's collar, speaking in a slightly coquettish tone. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, Suzette replied, "Wife, remember what I said? Whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. Forget going to the moon, even if you want to go on interstellar travel, I'll make it happen." Suzette wasn't exaggerating. With his cheat-like abilities and his brilliant mind, that day really wasn't far off. Although Gao Luofei didn't know if what Suzette said was true, his attitude made her very happy. It felt so good to be pampered by Suzette. This scene of public displays of affection caused Bingbing, Xiaolan, and Sun Li to turn around and interact with the viewers in the live stream. They wouldn't interfere in the affairs of Suzette and Gao Luofei. However, while they weren't watching, the cameraman was still professionally filming Suzette and Gao Luofei's interactions, and seeing this scene of public displays of affection, there was another wave of heartbreak. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Suzette, you'll be the vice president. Wow, I'm being fed food again. This feeling of being pampered is so blissful. My husband can't do that. Sigh, as expected, how could you marry a goddess without some skill? Suzette is too amazing. A side job can afford jewelry worth 30 million, that's outrageous. Can you introduce me to a side job like that? I want one too, exactly. A tech genius like him earns 30 million from a side job. He deserves to be treated like royalty. I don't know what that explosive toys company was thinking, only making Suzette a regular R&D staff member. Some of the mechas weren't made by Suzette. We only saw him assembling them, not manufacturing them. Are you stupid or am I? Mechas are treasured. If Suzette didn't manufacture them, who would give or sell them to him? Besides, if Suzette didn't manufacture them, how could he pilot them so skillfully and effortlessly? Because the security department and the police had come to the company today to inquire about Suzette, Zhou Yangxin, who normally didn't watch any variety shows or entertainment programs, unusually had his secretary turn on the Finding Hidden Money program. Look at what these people are saying. How could I exploit Suzette's value? If I had known Suzette was this capable, why would I have let him only be a toy designer? Zhou Yangxin was angry but helpless when he saw the comments in the live stream. After all, it was the truth. He hadn't discovered Suzette, this incredibly brilliant talent, sooner. If he had been even a few days later, he might have fired Suzette. Zhou Yangxin saw that the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money had reached 53.1 million viewers. Despite some comments defending explosive toys, Zhou Yangxin couldn't let things continue like this. Otherwise, if explosive toys' reputation suffered, sales and profits would decline, and his personal value would naturally decrease as well. Of course, the most crucial reason was that Zhou Yangxin had heard the name Songzhou. Who was Songzhou? The sales volume of his company was over 100 times higher than that of Jinbao Toys. If it were just a coincidence of names, that would be one thing, but possessing 2 diamond black cards meant it couldn't be a coincidence. For Songzhou, Dealing with Zhou Yangxin was as easy as an elephant crushing an ant. This behemoth was actually Suze's friend, so Zhou Yangxin dared not offend Suze even more. Thinking back on his previous foolish thoughts, Zhou Yangxin was filled with lingering fear. However, Zhou Yangxin also had his own unspoken difficulties. It wasn't that he looked down on Suzette, but rather that the toys Suzette designed simply didn't meet the client's requirements. After consulting his secretary and learning that the official live stream of the program Finding Hidden Money allowed users to interact by sending prominent bullet comments through payment, Zhou Yangxin immediately recharged 100,000 yuan without hesitation. He then sent bullet comments in the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money. I am Zhou Yangxin, the owner of Explosive Toys. I am deeply sorry that Suze has been neglected by the company, and our company will conduct a thorough review of this matter. From now on, Suze is no longer an ordinary toy designer, but the vice president of Explosive Toys. In addition to a fixed salary, he will enjoy a certain amount of stock dividends. I am Zhou Yangxin, the owner of Explosive Toys. I am deeply sorry that Suze has been neglected by the company. I am Zhou Yangxin, the owner of Explosive Toys. Chapter 56. What exactly does Suze's work look like? The bullet comments Zhou Yangxin sent were the highest level special bullet comments, each costing 10,000 yuan. After sending 10 apology bullet comments, Zhou Yangxin had spent all 100,000 yuan he had just spent. Wow, directly to vice president, that's too exaggerated. With salary and stock dividends, Suze's annual income must be several million, nearly 10 million. The difference before and after is too big. I have a feeling there's something fishy going on. Does Zhou Yangxin know something? Suze and Gao Luofei naturally saw the obvious apology bullet comments. Regarding Zhou Yangxin's offer to promote him, Suze remained very calm, showing no excitement or joy at hearing the news. I appreciate President Zhou's kindness, but being a toy designer is fine. Hearing Suze's words, Zhou Yangxin naturally understood what Suze meant. Unable to send the highest level special comment, Zhou Yangxin immediately spent another 100,000 to send a comment saying, President Su, you're too kind. Just tell me where you'd like to sit, I'll be waiting any time. A company boss is so humble. Could he be an imposter? No, he's not an imposter. This is our boss Zhou Yangxin. He already said in our company group that we should treat Suze with even more respect than he does. What's wrong with this world? I don't understand it anymore. This boss is too humble. I don't understand. Right, Song Zhou? I knew that name sounded familiar. Isn't Song Zhou a business tycoon? I think I get it now. Honey, what's wrong with your boss? Although she was indignant about Suze's situation, Gao Luofei was still very puzzled by Zhou Yangxin's appearance. Although Suze was technically skilled, a boss of a large company shouldn't act like this. Suze had already guessed what was going on and knew he couldn't hide it any longer, so he said to Gao Luofei, Zhou Yangxin did this probably because he knows I have a good relationship with Song Zhou. Before Suze could say more, many knowledgeable viewers in the live stream began sharing Song Zhou's background. Song Zhou, he's a young prodigy, already an elite figure under 30, and his company is roughly worth over 10 billion. Keep in mind, Song Zhou is not even 30 years old. At this rate, he'll definitely be a big shot in the future. So, if I were the owner of Explosive Toys, I would make the same choice as Zhou Yangxin. Yeah, after all, dignity is nothing compared to money. However, I'm still very curious about what Suze did before. He was dismissed after only 1 month as a team leader. It's just a toy. What's the big deal? I feel like the client was too demanding. There's definitely a big scoop here. Let's wait for Xiaolan and Sunli to dig it out. Meanwhile, Sunli and Xiaolan, who had been watching the audience's reactions in the live stream, immediately had a glint in their eyes when they saw the audience enthusiastically discussing that Suzette was just a technical R&D staff member. Yes, Suze's technical skills are clearly mismatched with his position at the company. These unusual situations are usually the starting point for finding hidden stashes of money. Therefore, Xiaolan scoffed twice and asked Suze in a questioning tone, Suzette, judging from your boss's comments earlier, you were just an ordinary toy designer at Explosive Toys before. Yeah, maybe the company thought my abilities were limited and felt I was only suitable for this position. Hearing Suze's calm reply, Xiaolan, Sunli, and the viewers in the live stream all unconsciously twitched their lips. Limited abilities? Have you ever seen someone with limited abilities create such an incredible mecha? What a joke. Upon hearing Xiaolan mention this matter, Gao Luofei, who had been filled with sweet happiness because of Suzette's words, instantly became indignant, saying indignantly, "I get angry just thinking about this. My husband is such an excellent and humble person. He was hoping to find a technical supervisor position, but who would have thought that after less than a month as a team leader, he would be demoted to a regular toy designer. I was even thinking of funding my husband to open his own company so he wouldn't have to endure this, but my husband said he was new to the industry and wanted to hone his skills for a few years. That's why he stayed." Gao Luofei's expression clearly showed that she was deeply resentful about her husband's talent going unappreciated. It was obvious that this resentment had been brewing for a long time, otherwise she wouldn't have spoken so bluntly. Gao Luofei's indignant demeanor surprised the viewers in the live stream. Even goddesses get angry. Oh my god, she looks so cute when she's angry. It seems Suzette's experience really angered the goddess. But we can understand her feelings. After all, Suzette can even build mechas. How could he not build toys? It must have been some unscrupulous capitalist trying to squeeze Suzette's value. Anyway, Suzette probably just hadn't met a mentor before. Now that they know Suzette is a powerful figure, they've latched onto him. "Suzette, would it be convenient for you to take us to see your work?" Xiaolan asked Suzette, the person involved. Hearing Xiaolan's suggestion, Suzette nodded in agreement. It wasn't anything shameful anyway. Since Xiaolan, Sun Li, and their group were willing to see it, Suzette took them. As for academician Li Jianguo and Guon, after asking them, they were also curious about Suzette's main job and wanted to see what his designs would look like. Chapter 57. Suzette is simply not fit to be a toy designer. Suzette's works were all displayed in his studio on the third floor. Therefore, the group, led by Gao Luofei and Suzette, headed up to the third floor. Gao Luofei had learned something about each of Suzette's toy designs. So, on the way up, she introduced the designs to the curious Bingbing, Xiaolan, Sun Li, and the many viewers in the live stream. I remember when Suzette became the team leader, the first toy he needed to design was a toy car. The client, Suzette's company, had 3 requirements for this toy car. The first requirement was, the toy car's appearance had to be cool, technologically advanced, and able to attract children's interest. The second requirement was, because our toy car is for children to ride and parents to control, the remote control should be as small and convenient as possible. Also, the toy car should ideally have some level of intelligence, preferably automatically avoiding obstacles. The third requirement was, the toy car should ideally be fast, energy efficient, have a sturdy shell, high safety performance, and allow for a long playing time, ideally conforming to the current era of green and energy-saving technologies. After Gao Luofei finished stating these 3 requirements, the viewers in the live stream immediately began a debate. These 3 requirements seem normal, although there are some contradictions. They're relatively simple. If these 3 requirements are met, I think it shouldn't be too difficult. With such simple requirements, how did Suzette fail to perfectly complete the toy design? He even lost his position as team leader. I'm getting more and more curious. Is it because the appearance is too ugly? TCH, he can't even meet these requirements? Such simple requirements, even recent graduates could complete them. What kind of toy designer is he? He should quit and get lost, and just live with his girlfriend. So what if he's friends with Songzhou? It's just that Zhou Yangxin is spineless. If this were my company, I would have kicked someone like Suzette, who can't even meet the client's requirements, out long ago. Suddenly, a prominent comment appeared in the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money, instantly attracting the attention of the viewers. After clicking on the comment, many viewers were not surprised at all by the arrogant words of the person who sent it. Isn't this mad dog? Still talking like that? So irritating. This guy's a mad dog. He'll throw all his shame away for a bit of attention. Get this straight. Suzette can even build mechas. How could his toys not meet the requirements? There's a limit to riding the coattails of others. This person, called Mad Dog by the audience, is named Zhou Kwang, a short video blogger who's a natural at riding the coattails of trending topics. He'll jump on any hot topic. There are many like this, and generally, the Finding Hidden Money production team would ban their accounts to ensure the show's smooth operation. But Zhou Kwang has some connections, so as long as he doesn't go too far, the Finding Hidden Money production team can only let him be. Other viewers are already used to Zhou Kwang. However, Gao Luofei was different. Hearing this person dare to slander Suzette, she immediately flew into rage and said, "What makes you think my husband is no good? My husband's product design won an international award, how could it be no good? Gao Luofei's fair hands clenched into fists, her eyes sharp. Clearly unable to accept such arrogant words. Oh, an international award? It's not some cheap award, is it? There are tons of those kinds of awards on the street. If those count, I can get as many international awards as I want. Show us what you can do. If you can, I'll quit the internet immediately. Hearing Zhou Kuang's words, Suzette calmly said, remember what you said. Suzette originally didn't intend to pay attention to this clown. But since the other party had angered Gao Luofei, Suzette naturally couldn't sit idly by. However, the punishment for him afterward would not be as simple as quitting the internet as Zhou Kuang had mentioned. Meanwhile, in the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money, Zheng Han, the department head of Hulan Group, the toy manufacturer responsible for liaising with Jinbao Toys and making these 3 demands, was watching the live stream with his wife. It was a weekend, and Zheng Han wasn't really interested in these kinds of variety shows. Especially Finding Hidden Money, which he hated. Because of this show, many of his secretly hidden stashes of money had been discovered and confiscated by his wife. But unfortunately, his wife was a loyal fan of Finding Hidden Money, never missing a single episode. After hearing Gao Luofei's demands, Zheng Han's wife, who was eating potato chips while watching, felt that the 3 demands sounded familiar, as if she had heard them somewhere before. Then, Zheng Han's wife remembered something and looked at Zheng Han, who was sitting beside her tossing his hair, and asked, Old Zheng, I remember you are the one who made this request, right? Yes, I was. We've had a long-standing working relationship with Explosive Toys, so I didn't think much of it and just sent the finished product to the company. Who would have thought that while Explosive Toys' design was quite good, it far exceeded the company's budget. You know, the budget for toys is always fixed. Speaking of this, Zheng Han felt a little angry. He had even been scolded by his boss because of Suzette's design. Chapter 58 International Grand Prize, a prize worth tens of millions. But honey, after watching this show today, I finally understand why Suzette designed that remote-controlled toy car. Sure enough, a person's design style is consistent, no matter what type of product they design, it's always the same style. Actually, thinking about it now, it really was my fault. There was something crucial I didn't explain to Suzette clearly. To be honest, Zheng Han, who had initially harbored resentment towards Suzette, had most of his anger dissipate after watching today's show. It wasn't Suzette's fault. The only one to blame was himself for not clearly explaining the approximate cost range of the toy beforehand. If he had set a detailed cost control range for Suzette, perhaps none of this would have happened. The more Zheng Han said this, the more his wife's curiosity was piqued. What kind of product did Suzette design that would elicit such a reaction from someone who had worked in the toy industry for over 10 years? This was incredibly intriguing for Zheng Han's wife. Please come in, everyone. It's not usually very tidy, so it might be a bit messy. I hope you won't mind. Suzette's studio is quite large. Most of the 3-story building has been converted into his workspace. The spacious studio is decorated in a simple, modern style, without giving it an overly luxurious feel. In the center of the studio are 5 common small CNC machining machines. Judging from the scattered metal fragments next to them, this is where Suzette does his work. Along one wall near the machines is a row of off-white, 3-tiered metal shelves. Looking up, you can see a dazzling array of tools on the shelves: wrenches, screwdrivers, hydraulic shears, and almost every tool available on the market. To the left of the entrance, near the window, bathed in sunlight, is a large, brown wooden desk. Beside the desk are 2 40-inch white monitors, and next to them is a futuristic-looking computer tower. On the other side of the brown desk, stacks of documents and blueprints were piled high. Further in from the desk, a row of wooden bookshelves occupied the entire wall, filled with various books. To some discerning individuals, Suzette's studio was a dream come true. Look! Ultra-precision machining centers. Each one costs at least $1 million, and there are 3. Look at all those books. At least 1,000. Suzette is so studious. I'm so envious of that computer. That's my dream computer. It costs over 200,000. Luofei, do you know how much it cost to build this studio? Zhao Lan looked at Suzette's studio and conservatively estimated that it must have cost at least 10 million. Sister Lan, it seems this studio only cost less than 100,000. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, the viewers in the live stream who were familiar with the value of the equipment instantly laughed. 100,000? I knew something was fishy. How could 100,000 possibly build a studio like this? Sister Lan is indeed sharp-minded. She discovered another hidden stash of Suze's money in no time. The value of this studio should be increased by at least 2 zeros. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, Zhao Lan immediately understood that Gao Luofei had been deceived by Suze again. Luofei, then you've been fooled by Suzette. The things in this studio, just these 3 lathes alone, are worth nearly 10 million. How could they be so cheap? It seems we've discovered another hidden stash of your husband's money. As she spoke, Zhao Lan smiled and looked at Suzette. Her eyes held a hint of smugness. Zhao Lan was very happy to have found Suze's hidden stash of money again. Just as Bingbing was about to announce that Suze's discovered 41.3 million yuan hidden stash had been increased by another huge sum, Gao Luofei, with a slightly embarrassed expression, quietly explained to Zhao Lan in front of everyone. Sister Lan, maybe I wasn't clear, the 100,000 I mentioned is the cost of decorating this studio and furnishing it. As for the other equipment, tools, and even this computer, they're all within that 100,000. Didn't I just mention my husband's award for his toy car? These are all prizes from that international award. Gao Luofei spoke with great pride. Looks like Suze really did win an international award. It seems Mad Dog has to quit the internet, but seriously, what international award? There's such a generous reward, tens of millions. That's no small amount. Judging from the tens of millions in prize money, there's no doubt that this award is highly prestigious. If Suze's toy car design really won an international award, then Explosive Company and Firewheel Group really have a problem with their judgment. TCH, whatever you say. You can't get these things just because you have money. Who knows if it's just something you, Gao Luofei, made up to create a persona for your husband. Just as everyone was discussing, Zhou Kuang's comments appeared again, as disgusting as ever. Seeing this, Gao Luofei said nothing and led everyone directly to the bookshelf where the certificates and trophies were placed. Found them. Chapter 59 How come a toy car is faster than a Bugatti Veyron? Soon, Gao Luofei found 5 certificates and 5 trophies in the cabinet next to her. Opening the cabinet, she took out one of the certificates. The certificate was wrapped in red calfskin, and on the front, besides the English words WCC and others, the most prominent feature was the logo of a car racing game. The English font was easily understood by Gao Luofei and the others present, but some viewers in the live stream had limited English proficiency and couldn't understand some of the more complex and less common words besides the prominent WCC. However, Sun Li, who was familiar with WCC, quickly explained it to the viewers. This is the WCC certificate. WCC stands for World Motorsport Championship, held annually. The competition consists of 5 sub-competitions: off-road, racing, maneuverability, speed, and safety. The WCC has a low entry barrier. Basically, any type of vehicle that can drive normally can participate. However, a low barrier doesn't mean low prestige. On the contrary, because anyone can participate, the WCC is extremely prestigious. Well-known brands like Ferrari, Bugatti Veyron, and Lamborghini send their flagship vehicles to this competition. Therefore, this award is considered authoritative in the automotive field. However, the award process isn't very exciting. It's simply a performance competition, and because the event isn't broadcast live, only the top 3 videos are released via pre-recorded broadcasts. Therefore, it doesn't get as much attention. After Sun Li's explanation, the viewers in the live stream had a basic understanding of the WCC. However, they quickly realized, wait a minute, this is a car race. What's Suze doing with a toy car? Exactly. Suze's toy car is good, and now you're giving him a World Car Championship certificate? Isn't that a bit too hasty? Goddess, are you mistaken, or has Suze been fooled? Gao Luofei was too happy when she heard that Suze's toy car had won an award. She hadn't really known anything about this WCC beforehand. Now, after hearing Sun Li's explanation, she was stunned. This WCC wasn't some kind of award for toy cars, but a competition related to real cars. Ha, this is hilarious. You can't fake it like this. A toy car claiming to have a World Car Championship certificate. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Seriously, Suzette, if you're going to fake it, at least do it properly. How can a toy car try to scam the World Car Championship? With such a big fiasco, how could Zhou Kuang miss this opportunity? 3 consecutive comments. Zhou Kuang was extremely pleased with himself. However, her momentary daze was fleeting. Gao Luofei believed Suze wouldn't lie to her about something like this. There was no need for him to do so. Therefore, in response to Zhou Kuang's comment, Gao Luofei directly retorted, "Isn't the WCC open to any vehicle? Why can't my husband's toy car participate?" As she spoke, Gao Luofei opened the certificate section in her hand. Event, speed, name, Zhaowu, speed. 500 km per hour, rank, champion, PFFT, ha, a toy car reaching 500 km per hour? Do you think we're stupid? Sitting in front of the computer, Zhou Kuang was incredibly smug after looking at the certificate in the live stream. Zhaolan and Sun Li, standing in front of Gao Luofei, wanted to say something, but a toy car reaching 500 km per hour was beyond their comprehension. 50 km per hour might be barely acceptable, but 500 km per hour was outrageous. Keep in mind that the world's fastest Bugatti Veyron only reaches 450 km per hour. Well, I don't know what to say, me too. Although I don't think Suze and Gao Luofei are those kinds of people, there's no explanation for this, unless WCC releases the race video. No comment, but the name is quite good, the ancient mythical beast Zhaowu. It suits a car quite well. Gao Luofei looked up at Suzette, and seeing his calm and composed expression, she felt relieved. Although it was indeed somewhat unbelievable, since it was Suzette, Gao Luofei chose to believe him. After reading the certificate, Gao Luofei then looked through the other 4 WCC race certificates. These certificates covered the other 4 WCC events: off-road, racing, mobility, and safety. The certificates were still simple. Suze's car, named Zhaowu, had won the championship in all 4 events. This is hilarious, it's so fake. Forget toy cars, even top car manufacturers specialize in one thing. How could they possibly win first place in 5 categories? Zhou Kuang's words were still harsh, but after the contents of the 5 certificates were revealed, everyone except Gao Luofei and Suze agreed with his point. Yes, even if it were fake, no one would do it like this. It's obviously fake. Meanwhile, Bingbing was extremely anxious. This was, in a sense, a live-stream mishap. Just as Bingbing was trying to figure out how to defuse the awkward situation, a series of eye-catching comments suddenly appeared in the live-stream chat. "I heard Zhaowu is here, is that true? Who designed Zhaowu? It's amazing, bringing glory to the country, Mr. Suze, are you interested in selling the technology related to Zhaowu?" Chapter 60 Suze's toy car crushes all luxury cars. The WCC has finally released the race videos for this year. I wonder who will be the champion in the 5 major events. No doubt about it, it'll be our meticulous nation. After all, we were the first to create the automotive industry. Come on, when it comes to automotive craftsmanship, of course it's still our country. After all, we're the home of sports cars, but I heard there's a dark horse in this year's WCC. I wonder which country it is. A dark horse? Could it be China, or perhaps Japan? Who cares? It definitely can't be China. Everyone knows China's automotive industry. Haha, don't be so blunt. The videos are out. Everyone watch the races. They say this year's races are exceptionally exciting. After the official WCC race videos were released, a large number of eager car enthusiasts flocked to a foreign forum, all wanting to see who would win the 5 major events. Seeing the netizens on the forum mocking their country, the Chinese netizens wanted to refute, but their strength was indeed, as the netizens said, utterly insignificant, and they could only swallow their anger. As for dark horses, there are dark horses every year, and any country can have one. As for Xiaoguo, it's really unlikely they'll pull off an upset. Among the 5 major events in the WCC, the most exciting is the speed race, which tests car speed. Speed is a man's romance. What's most important for a car? Speed is absolutely paramount. Therefore, the speed race attracts the most viewers. At this moment, millions are watching the video. The video begins by introducing the cars that have made it to the top 10. First up is the Lamborghini Veneno, which we all know. This year's Lamborghini Veneno has undergone special modifications to improve its speed, making it even faster than before. Second, the video explains the top 10 cars, while the audience discusses them simultaneously. Speed? It's definitely the Bugatti Veyron. It's a 3-time speed champion, no need to even look at it. Who says? I heard Ferrari and McLaren both made engine improvements this year, so an unexpected result is possible. Exactly. Did they say there's a dark horse this year? Maybe it's in the speed category. Look at the video. Are you kidding me? What's this? Zhao Wu in 10th place. Are the cars in this year's competition too weak? How did China manage to get into the top 10, and that size? Are you kidding me? So small. Are you sure it has enough power? At this moment, many netizens from all over the world were speechless after seeing the mini sports car in the video. In lane 10 is the Zhao Wu from China. It was originally designed as a toy car, powered by electricity. This mini sports car was the Zhao Wu, a toy car designed by Su Zed. Because the Firewall Group originally intended the Zhao Wu to be suitable for children under 10, its size is remarkably small compared to other luxury supercars. The Zhao Wu is only 2 meters long and 1 meter wide, just right for a child. Besides its compact size, foreign netizens have to admit that the Zhao Wu's appearance is the coolest sports car they've ever seen. Its oval, futuristic silhouette, graceful curves, and contrasting white, gray, and black lines give it a dynamic look. However, no matter how beautiful the design, it cannot be denied that in the current climate of limited breakthroughs in engine development, engine size is a crucial factor in power. This is especially true since the Zhao Wu's engine is electrically powered. Given its small size, the Zhao Wu certainly can't be equipped with a powerful engine, so its speed is naturally not something to expect. PFFT, a toy car. If this car is a toy car, I'll consider buying one for my kid. What's the suspense now? This Zhao Wu from Xia country is just joking, right? Hopefully it won't get blown away by the wind from other sports cars on the road. We finally saw our country make it into the top 10, and it's this little guy. Whose toy car is this? We should take it home quickly. How did this Zhao Wu get into the top 10? Did the WCC management take bribes? They need to investigate thoroughly such a serious occasion, and they let a toy car compete? Isn't this a joke on the international stage? It's a disgrace to Xia country, a disgrace on the international stage. While the discussion about the Zhao Wu was heated, most of it was just mockery, ridiculing Xia country for bringing a toy car to such a professional competition. However, the discussion didn't affect the video playback at all. After introducing the Zhao Wu, the video showed a countdown of 3, 2, 1, followed by the firing of the starting gun, officially launching the race. However, once the race began, the numerous spectators who had been cheering and supporting their favorite cars suddenly stopped, staring blankly at the bizarre scene unfolding in the video. The Zhao Wu, which no one had expected to win, had surged forward from the starting line at an astonishing speed, leaving the other 9 luxury cars far behind. Chapter 61. Is this the speed a toy car can reach? What happened? That toy car is too fast. Are you kidding me? Are you sure this is a toy car? While everyone was shocked, the Zhao Wu's speed continued to increase, and at the same time, its real-time speed was clearly marked in the video. 110 km per hour, 220 km per hour, 340 km per hour. When the Zhao Wu reached 340 km per hour, the only sports car that couldn't keep up with it was the Bugatti Veyron. However, it only lasted for a dozen seconds. The Zhao Wu's speed didn't decrease, it continued to accelerate. 380 km per hour, 420 km per hour, 460 km per hour. 460? That's already the Bugatti Veyron's top speed. This is terrifying. Are you sure this was designed as a toy car? 460, and the speed is still increasing. My God, who is this genius? Who would have thought the Zhao Wu is electrically powered? It's only been less than a minute. The Zhao Wu has already completed half of the 10-kilometer track, while the Porsche at the back has only completed a third. The gap is huge. In the end, the Zhao Wu, traveling at full speed, completed the 10-kilometer race in just 1 minute and 34 seconds, breaking the WCC record held for over a decade. When the words Xiaoguo Zhao Wu won the championship appeared on the video, many viewers who were unwilling to believe the result had no choice but to accept it. And the Xiaoguo audience couldn't have been happier at that moment. After all these years, I hadn't had high expectations, but I never expected to encounter such a huge surprise. Who was saying that our Xia country can't win the championship? Look, this is real strength. Whoever was talking bad about Xia country, come out here. Did you get your mouth swollen? It's really satisfying, so refreshing. You guys go watch the speed event video. Our Xia country's Zhao Wu won the championship. Big news. Finally we can hold our heads high. Let's get together tonight. My treat. And just as the Xia country audience watching the speed event were preparing to tell their friends this earth-shattering news, when they saw the messages their friends shared, they couldn't believe it and rubbed their eyes. What? The speed event champion is also Zhao Wu. I just finished watching the off-road event, and the champion there is also a Zhao Wu we've never heard of before. No way. I just finished watching the safety event, and guess what? The champion is Zhao Wu too. Zhao Wu? There must be some mistake. Zhao Wu is also the champion in the racing event. It's hard to believe, but the champion in the mobility event I watched was also Zhao Wu. 5 champions in 5 events? That's unbelievable. I remember the commentator saying Zhao Wu was designed like a toy car. When did toy cars become so powerful? Am I out of touch? After the initial shock of Zhao Wu winning 5 WCC championships, the crowd digested the news and began to celebrate. 5 championships, awesome. Who designed this Zhao Wu? If it were to be released, I'd definitely buy one. Release? Impossible. With that kind of performance, do you think it'd even be roadworthy? Zhao Wu? Don't you never watch variety shows? But you're watching Finding Hidden Money now, aren't you? A viewer watching Finding Hidden Money suddenly heard his roommate talking about Zhao Wu and asked, puzzled. He remembered that his roommate never watched any variety shows. Hearing his roommate's words, the dorm leader said inexplicably, when did I watch Finding Hidden Money? I never watch variety shows. Okay, you still won't admit it? Didn't you just mention the Zhao Wu? The Zhao Wu is clearly what's being discussed on the Finding Hidden Money program, but you know, Suze is really something. He can't even make his fakes look real. His Zhao Wu is just a toy car, yet he claims it won 5 WCC awards. Isn't that ridiculous? After a moment of surprise, the dorm leader quickly came to his senses. 5 WCC awards? Zhao Wu? Toy car? Could it be that this Suze is the Zhao Wu's designer? Send me the link to Finding Hidden Money. After getting the official link to Finding Hidden Money from his roommate, the dorm leader immediately logged in. Upon entering the live stream and seeing the WCC certificate and trophy displayed on the interface, he instantly knew he had found the Zhao Wu he was looking for. Quickly search for the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money. Zhao Wu's designer is in there. His name is Suzette. As this news spread like wildfire, more and more people, having watched Zhao Wu's amazing performance at WCC, immediately flooded the official live stream with excitement. Instantly, some viewers who had been criticizing Suze in the live stream were overwhelmed by a sudden wave of comments. It's real. These are real WCC certificates and trophies. This is Zhao Wu's designer. He's so incredibly handsome. Master Su, you've really brought honor to our country. I've been fed up with those people for so long. This is truly a cathartic release. I didn't expect Zhao Wu's designer to be so young. Each generation is indeed better than the last. I guess I'm getting old. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Principal Wang, I'll buy this toy for 50 million. Suzette, a bet's a bet, hiring trolls is pointless. Seeing these comments, Zhou Guang, bewildered, sent another sarcastic message. However, shortly after sending his message, Zhou Guang, sitting at his computer, saw a comment from a familiar face. Principal Wang? What's he doing here? Indeed, Zhou Guang, who had just sent his own comment, saw that the well-known Principal Wang had sent a message. Trolls. Zhou Guang, who do you think can hire me as a troll? Teacher Su, I watched Zhao Wu's match video. It was amazing. I'm willing to offer 50 million to buy it, and I can add more if needed. I'm genuinely interested. Upon seeing the message, Zhou Guang was greatly surprised. 50 million for a toy car? Principal Wang may be rich, but he couldn't possibly spend money like that. Principal Wang, of course you can't hire anyone, but are you mistaken? It's just a toy car. How could it be worth 50 million? Don't be fooled by Suzette. Zhou Guang sent another message in the live stream. A toy car? If you're ignorant, just listen and keep quiet. Do you know that Teacher Su's Zhao Wu car brought glory to our Xia Kingdom, winning all 5 WCC championships this year? Principal Wang spoke bluntly to Zhou Guang. After speaking, Principal Wang brought up the purchase again with Suzette. Teacher Su, if you think 50 million is too low, I'll add some more. 80 million, 80 million. Principal Wang was a big shot. spending money like water. Since he was willing to pay that price, as long as Suze was willing to sell, Principal Wang wouldn't even bat an eye. After the explanation from the comments, many viewers who were unaware of the truth understood the whole story. Knowing that the Zhaowu toy car Suze had made had actually won all 5 WCC championships, they felt both proud and ashamed. After all, what Suze and Gao Luofei had told them was true, but they had thought Suze and Gao Luofei were lying to them. However, even now that they knew the truth, they still couldn't believe it. The Zhaowu, initially designed as a toy car, was surprisingly superior to all those so-called luxury cars combined, except for its slightly small size. Viewers of the video seem to vaguely understand why the Firewheel Group didn't approve of Suze's Zhaowu design. It wasn't that the Firewheel Group or explosive company were incompetent, but rather that Suze's understanding of the word toy seemed different from others. I feel sorry for Zhou Yang. Suze's design for the Zhaowu is indeed a bit too unconventional. Another reason is that the Zhaowu's cost is definitely very high. If it were to be released, the Zhaowu's price would definitely be higher than a sports car. Who would buy such an expensive toy for their child? Suze, I admit you're a genius, but you need to improve your physical abilities. Principal Wang's offer is too domineering, a direct 80 million, what do you know? Do you think Principal Wang is really just after a Zhaowu? This is just a prelude, there's more to this than meets the eye, tell me more, don't you understand? You've all seen the Zhaowu's performance, it's powerful, right? The technology it contains must be cutting edge. If Principal Wang buys it, I understand, I see. Suze naturally saw Principal Wang's offer, but the price of 80 million didn't interest him at all. To outsiders, Principal Wang's offer of 80 million seemed foolish, but Suze knew very well. Therefore, Suze, who wasn't short of money, replied directly. I understand Principal Wang's sincerity, but Zhaowu won't be sold. Hearing Suze's words, Principal Wang wasn't discouraged. Instead, he replied with a comment, since Teacher Su is unwilling to part with it, I won't force you. If there's an opportunity, I'll talk to Teacher Su in person then. Since others were polite, Suze naturally wasn't arrogant. Zhou Kuang, do you remember what you said before? You lost, you should quit the internet. Quit the internet? Don't you all know what kind of person Zhou Kuang is? How could he quit? Just ignore what Mad Dog says. The comments in the live stream were Zhou Kuang's inner thoughts. Just as Zhou Kuang was about to send another comment to ride the wave of popularity, he discovered he had been muted. Then, Zhou Kuang's phone rang with several text messages. The messages were simple, all of Zhou Kuang's bank cards had been frozen. Then, Zhou Kuang's father called. As soon as the call connected, Zhou Kuang heard his father roar, do you know who you've messed with? Get back here right now. Chapter 63, the program resumed airing, and the number of viewers surged. Hey everyone, have you missed us? The next morning, unable to resist the urging from numerous netizens, Bingbing and her team got up early and, after making thorough preparations, arrived at Suze's house. With yesterday's exciting live stream content, many viewers, as well as some who had heard about the event from others, eagerly gathered in the live stream room before it even started. Accompanied by Bingbing's familiar introduction and her pretty face, the live stream officially began. And as soon as the live stream started, the viewers who had been waiting in the room spread the news. Goddess Bingbing, do you know how hard I've been waiting for you? It's still Sister Lan and Brother Sun. I hope they can keep up the good work today. I wonder what exciting things will happen today. I've watched so many episodes of Finding Hidden Money, but I missed yesterday's. I'm so sad to have missed such a great episode. It's airing. I need to tell my friends right away, brothers and sisters, let's boost it on Weibo and Bilibili, let's get it trending. With the encouragement of many viewers, within just 1 minute, topics related to Finding Hidden Money dominated the top spots on major online platforms. As the news spread, the number of viewers for the Finding Hidden Money program increased from a mere 1.35 million to 23.15 million. 5 minutes later, this number reached yesterday's all-time high of 55.11 million. However, compared to yesterday, the growth rate has slowed down, but the number of viewers is still increasing by tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Fortunately, due to yesterday's events, the official Finding Hidden Money team was prepared and had server resources ready in advance, preventing lag. Otherwise, with yesterday's servers, they would probably have been forced to shut down by now. As the number of viewers in the live stream increased, Bingbing introduced the show again, Welcome everyone to the official live stream of Finding Hidden Money. Today's experts are still Xiaolan and Mr. Sun Li. For those who missed yesterday's live stream, so far, Gao Luofei's husband, our protagonist in this episode, has had 40 million yuan of hidden money discovered, including 30 million yuan in jewelry and 10 million yuan in other items. We hope that today, all viewers will keep their eyes peeled and work together with the two experts to discover even more hidden money hidden by Suzette. Hearing Bingbing's introduction, the viewers in the live stream hadn't been this excited in a long time, and they immediately became thrilled. Let's break his small goal today, round it up, let's go for 100 million, hey buddy, you're too conservative. I think it needs at least 200 million, you guys are being too gloating. If Suzette knew, he'd cry. I've already put on my glasses and prepared my magnifying glass. Bingbing, hurry up and go to Suzette's house, let's begin. While Bingbing was interacting with the viewers in the live stream, the number of viewers finally stabilized. At this moment, the number of viewers online simultaneously reached a staggering 81.31 million. This number of simultaneous viewers not only broke the domestic record for the highest number of simultaneous viewers, but it was already considered the world's highest record. After introducing the program, Bingbing didn't waste any more words and went straight to the point. With the experience from last time, Bingbing and her group arrived at Suzette's house with ease and rang the doorbell. Chapter 64. A shirt worth $1 million? Suzette is rich. Ding dong Fifi, it's me. A moment after Bingbing rang the doorbell, accompanied by soft footsteps, the door opened, and Gao Luofei's sweet face once again appeared before the viewers in the live stream. Today, Gao Luofei's hair was loose, falling beside her fair collarbone. Her cheeks were delicate and pink, her lips slightly parted, her eyes sparkling with a smile. She wore a white silk dress, which accentuated her elegant and refined, inherent quality temperament. Following closely behind Gao Luofei was Suzette, dressed in a simple white shirt. Suzette was already incredibly handsome, with a well-proportioned physique, and the white shirt, being the most flattering garment, perfectly showcased his tall figure and handsome appearance. Suzette and Gao Luofei standing together, a handsome man and a beautiful woman, were a match made in heaven. Today is Suzette and Gao Luofei's wedding anniversary, so naturally, after getting up, the two changed into a very meaningful pair of clothes. They were wearing the same outfits they wore when they first met. More than a year had passed, but time seemed to have left no trace on them. Bingbing, good morning. Gao Luofei came to Bingbing and gently hugged her. Sister Lan, brother Sun, cameraman, good morning. After greeting Bingbing, Gao Luofei and Suzette addressed the other members of the program, and finally, facing the viewers in the live stream, they said, hello everyone, we meet again. Goddess looks great today, even more beautiful. Suzette is so handsome, the two of them are a perfect match, but have you noticed, I always feel like Suzette isn't very welcoming to us. Of course, we're here to find our secret stash of money, of course Suzette wouldn't welcome us. Bingbing was also very clear about the significance of Gao Luofei and Suzette's outfits today, so she explained them to the viewers in the live stream with a smile. Did you all know that the clothes Luofei and Suzette are wearing today are exactly what they wore when they first met? Gao Luofei chuckled, beaming with happiness as she addressed the live stream audience after hearing Bingbing mention this. When I went on a blind date with my husband, I fell in love with him at first sight when I saw him wearing this outfit. After we got home, I even thought about names for our future children. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, the live stream audience was filled with envy. Sigh, truly outstanding people attract each other. My goddess is so outstanding, Suzette is so lucky. The person above clearly didn't watch yesterday's live stream properly. Suzette is so outstanding, besides my goddess, who else could be worthy of him? Meanwhile, after the group entered Suzette's house, Xiaolan said to Suzette, Suzette, if I'm not mistaken, the shirt you're wearing should be a custom-made piece from Kaonin, right? Suzette wasn't surprised at all that Xiaolan had noticed the brand of his shirt. Suzette knew that even if he didn't admit it, it wouldn't affect Xiaolan and Sun Li's judgment. Therefore, Suzette nodded and said, yes, Kaonin. Compared to the two knowledgeable experts, Xiaolan and Sun Li, neither Gao Luofei nor Bingbing, nor most of the viewers in the live broadcast room, had ever heard of the Kaonin brand. Seeing Gao Luofei's questioning expression, Xiaolan understood that Gao Luofei probably didn't know the value of the shirt. That meant that, according to the rules of the program, the Kaonin custom-made shirt that Suzette was wearing was considered part of Suzette's personal savings. Thinking of this, Zhaolan addressed the puzzled crowd, saying, Ko Ingnan, I believe none of you have heard of this brand, so let me introduce it to you. Ko Ingnan is a top-tier bespoke brand from a Mediterranean country. The reason you haven't heard of it is because the brand hasn't advertised or promoted itself extensively. The reason Ko Ingnan hasn't promoted itself isn't because it lacks funds, but because it has no shortage of customers. Ko Ingnan, due to its special fabrics and exquisite craftsmanship, is deeply loved by royalty, top business elites, and extremely wealthy individuals from various countries. Because Ko Ingnan's annual production is limited, it requires advance booking. And with such a high demand, the price is naturally exorbitant. Take the dress Suzanne is wearing, for example. If I remember correctly, the same style would cost around 450,000. Hearing Zhaolan's introduction, Sun Li added at the end, of course, this is Ko Ingnan's order price. If it's resold, as long as the size is right, $1 million shouldn't be out of the question. Hearing what experts Zhaolan and Sun Li said, Gao Luofei, Bingbing, and many viewers in the live stream were secretly astonished. $1 million for a piece of clothing? Forgive me for being so clueless. Wow, Suzette is too rich. How much money does he have? Why did he become a toy designer? Mom, this world is too cruel. I want to go home. Suzette's secret stash of money has been discovered again. How much is still hidden? Suzette, is what Sister Lan said true? After the initial shock, Gao Luofei asked Suzette, the person involved. Hearing Gao Luofei's question, Suzette nodded honestly. Suzette, this piece of clothing is so expensive, why didn't you tell me? Chapter 65 The Discovery of the famous Xia Dynasty painting nymph of the Luo River. Looking at Suzette, Gao Luofei questioned him with an unfriendly expression. She hadn't seen any price tags on the shirt, and since Suzette was just a toy designer, she hadn't thought much of it. She hadn't expected it to be so expensive. Of course, Gao Luofei's displeasure wasn't because the shirt was too expensive, but because she hadn't known about its price beforehand. Upon hearing Gao Luofei's question, Suzette honestly replied, Fifei, you didn't ask me. I can't just tell you how expensive this shirt is, can I? Would that make me look like I'm showing off? Think about it, Gao Luofei continued. If I had told you how expensive this shirt was when we first met, wouldn't you have thought of me as one of those people who flaunt their wealth? If that were the case, the misunderstanding would be huge, honey. Besides, honey, this shirt was something I asked Song Zhou to buy for me when we went on our blind date. I wanted to look more formal, so I found out later that he had it custom made by Xiao Nin. As someone who was fully dedicated to scientific research, Suzette's attitude towards clothes was simply that they were wearable. He had arranged for Song Zhou to buy it for him because he thought it would be a bit more important for the blind date, but who would have thought Song Zhou would buy such an expensive one? In Song Zhou's words, he didn't know which shirt brands were good. The most expensive one was bound to be right, since he didn't have to pay for it anyway. 666. Suzette is absolutely right. I've actually met a blind date like the one Suzette described. They're so arrogant because they have a little money, bossing everyone around. I just turned around and left. But this incident shows that Suzette's character is definitely not bad. The goddess has great taste. I wonder if she could do a live stream sometime to teach us. Hearing Suzette's explanation, Gao Luofei felt that what Suzette said made a lot of sense. If Suzette had actually told her about the price of his clothes back then, she and Suzette really wouldn't have gotten together. However, even if she didn't say it then, there would be many opportunities to say it later. Although Gao Luofei wasn't as angry as before after Suzette's words, she was still a little unhappy. She said to Suzette, honey, I won't be upset no matter how expensive your clothes are, but next time you buy clothes, you have to let me know the price. Luckily, this dress is washable. If it couldn't be put in the washing machine, I would have ruined it. What a waste. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, Suzette stroked her head and smiled, saying, okay, Luofei, I understand. Although the matter between Gao Luofei and Suzette was over, the production team still needed to include the dress in Suzette's personal savings. Given the value of the Ko Nin brand and the fact that Suzette has already worn this dress, after comprehensive consideration, we'll include it in Suzette's personal savings at 500,000 yuan. Fifei, Suzette, do you have any objections? After Zhaolan and Sun Li discussed the value, Bingbing announced the result. Suzette and Gao Luofei had no objections to Bingbing's decision. Currently, the total amount of hidden money discovered by the production team is 40.5 million yuan. This is just the beginning, and they've already discovered 500,000 yuan in hidden money. Suze is going to have a tough time today. I'm getting more and more excited for today's show. What do you think will happen today? After finishing discussing the white shirt incident, Sun Li and Zhaolan resumed their exploration of the room. By the way, Fei, wasn't there a part of the collection room damaged by the Mecha yesterday? Is it fixed? Bingbing asked Gao Luofei. Hearing Bingbing's question, Gao Luofei replied, it's fixed. It was fixed yesterday afternoon. We hadn't even notified Yaoli Glass yet, but their CEO Wen came and installed it himself. I must say, their service attitude and Suze's were excellent. With that, Gao Luofei led Bingbing towards the collection room. Hearing what Gao Luofei said, Sun Li, Zhaolan, and the viewers in the live stream also headed towards the collection room. Seeing this scene, Suze had a very bad premonition. If he wasn't mistaken, the nymph of the Luo River painting that Song Zhou had sent would definitely be discovered. Although he was very uneasy inside, Suze didn't show much expression on his face. After entering the collection room, everyone first surrounded the Mecha, admiring its heroic figure. Thinking that this Mecha was the hero who saved more than 40 people yesterday, everyone came to take pictures in front of it. Bingbing, take a picture for me. Seeing this scene, the viewers in the live broadcast room were extremely envious. After Sun Li finished taking pictures, his eyes were attracted by the nymph of the Luo River painting embedded in the glass on the wall. Walking over, Sun Li looked at it and introduced it to the viewers in the live broadcast room. I believe most people have heard of this painting. It's our national treasure, the nymph of the Luo River. The nymph of the Luo River, a masterpiece of Chinese art, is one of our nation's 10 greatest paintings. Unfortunately, due to various historical reasons, it has been lost to the world. Its most recent appearance was at an auction, where it was bought by a mysterious buyer for 800 million. Sun Li had never seen the original nymph of the Luo River, so he couldn't determine its authenticity. Given its long history of being out of town and its high price of 800 million, Sun Li assumed it was a forgery. However, he reasoned that a genuine piece would be carefully preserved and wouldn't be displayed so openly. Therefore, he didn't suspect it was a fake. But when the live stream camera zoomed in, revealing the full view of the nymph of the Luo River, a young man watching the live stream on his computer couldn't sit still. How come this nymph of the Luo River is the one framed in our house? Chapter 66. This is the original artwork that we framed at home. The man, named Du Minghua, is the 6th-generation descendant of Wen Yuanzhe, a renowned Chinese art restoration, appraisal, mounting, acquisition, consignment, and auction house specializing in ancient paintings. As the eldest grandson and future family heir, Du Minghua is carefully nurtured by his grandfather from a young age. Just over 30, he already possessed considerable expertise in the family's business. Due to the rarity and preciousness of ancient paintings, both restoration and mounting require extreme care. Wen Yuanzhe, with its century-long tradition, naturally possesses unique craftsmanship. This craft is exclusive and not passed down to outsiders. Therefore, when the live stream camera zoomed in, revealing details of the nymph of the Luo River painting and its exquisite mounting techniques, Du Minghua immediately recognized that the mounting employed Wen Yuanzhe's unique method. However, it's important to understand that Wen Yuanzhe has its own unique rules regarding ancient painting restoration and mounting. Only when a painting is authenticated as genuine will it be mounted using Wen Yuanzhe's exclusive techniques. Such a national treasure as the goddess of the Luo River should be familiar to Du Minghua if the original had truly been framed by Wen Yuanzhe. However, when Du Minghua reviewed his memories, he couldn't recall ever having an original goddess of the Luo River framed by him. Clearly, there were only two possibilities. Either the forgery of the framing was so sophisticated that even Du Minghua couldn't tell the difference, or it was done by his retired grandfather. Either way, his grandfather, Du Qianzi, needed to authenticate it. Coincidentally, Du Minghua's grandfather happened to be visiting Wen Yuanzhe today. Du Minghua got up, paused his live stream, and went to the shop to find his grandfather. "Grandpa, I have a framed ancient painting here that I need you to identify," Du Minghua said to his grandfather. Although Du Qianzi was nearing 70, he looked remarkably spry and clearly well preserved. Hearing his grandson's words, Du Qianzi, accompanied by his grandfather, rose from his wooden rocking chair and walked into the house. "Grandpa, is this the nymph of the Luo River painting? Did you frame it?" Reaching the computer, Du Minghua pointed to the painting on the screen and asked his grandfather. Hearing Du Minghua mention the painting, Du Qianzi immediately perked up, took his reading glasses from his shirt pocket, put them on, and looked at the computer screen. After glancing at the nymph of the Luo River painting, Du Qianzi said with unwavering conviction, "That's right, I did frame this nymph of the Luo River painting. It happened about a month ago." An old friend mysteriously mentioned he had a famous painting for me to frame. I wondered what kind of famous painting it could be, but when we met, I found out it was the nymph of the Luo River painting. I've seen it, it's definitely the original that sold for 800 million at auction. Since then, I haven't heard of anyone else collecting it. I never expected to see it again today. Minghua, who has this painting now? How did it appear on the computer? The more Du Qianzi spoke, the more excited he became. His face flushed, and his breathing became irregular. Du Qianzi's greatest passion in life was dealing with ancient paintings. Having spent his entire life working with ancient paintings, his deepest regret was that those paintings, scattered overseas, were unable to be appreciated as national treasures like the nymph of the Luo River. The last time he saw it was a fleeting encounter, and since then, Du Qianzi had been thinking about it day and night, hoping to have the time to appreciate it more closely. He thought he'd never have the chance, but even though it was just through a computer screen, Du Qianzi was still very satisfied. Hearing Du Qianzi's question, Du Minghua quickly explained, "Grandpa, this painting appeared on a variety show called Finding Hidden Money. This painting is currently in the hands of a toy designer named Suzette." However, after saying this, Du Minghua was quite shocked by what his grandfather had said. If this nymph of the Luo River was an authentic work, didn't that mean Suzette had used an ancient painting worth 800 million as a background? Normally, ancient paintings worth tens or hundreds of millions are carefully preserved, for fear of being damaged in the slightest carelessness. And Suzette, on the other hand, used it like that. At the same time, Du Minghua became even more curious about Suzette's identity. Gao Luofei and the others all said that Suzette was just a toy designer, but if Suzette was really just a toy designer, then how could this 800 million yuan nymph of the Luo River painting be explained? Now, Du Minghua was even more curious about Suzette's identity. After hearing his grandson say that the priceless nymph of the Luo River painting was in the hands of a toy designer, Du Qianzi solemnly instructed Du Minghua, "Minghua, I just heard you say that the nymph of the Luo River painting is in the hands of a toy designer. Although I don't understand why the nymph of the Luo River painting appeared there, I'm very certain that the other party's power is beyond your imagination. Under no circumstances should you clash with them. Understand, if we really clash with them, our Wenyuanze simply cannot withstand their retaliation. We will disappear in an instant." This was the first time Du Minghua had seen his grandfather so solemn, and he clearly understood the importance his grandfather placed on him. Therefore, Du Minghua nodded firmly, deeply remembering his grandfather's words. Chapter 67 Zhou Kuang apologizes for not recognizing a great man. After bidding farewell to his grandfather, Du Minghua looked at the neglected nymph of the Luo River painting in the live stream and felt truly heartbroken. Although Du Minghua desperately wanted to tell the many viewers in the live stream the truth, he couldn't afford to offend Suzette. "Are you all stupid? That's the original of the national treasure, the goddess of the Luo River. You're not appreciating this opportunity to see the original, the goddess of the Luo River? You'll regret it later. I really want to expose you, but Grandpa told me not to offend Suzette. This, the goddess of the Luo River, is definitely Suzette's secret stash. If I expose him, Suzette will never forgive me. No, I have to hold back. 800 million? Our country's paintings are amazing. Amazing? What's so amazing about it? A national treasure like the goddess of the Luo River has been kept abroad for so long. It's a disgrace to us. I'm an art book, but judging from the level of detail in Suzette, the goddess of the Luo River, even if it's a forgery, it's a masterpiece among forgeries, and its value should be considerable." Sun Li carefully examined the goddess of the Luo River, then said to the viewers in the live stream, "Although this, the goddess of the Luo River, is just a forgery, it's still worth around 500,000. I wonder how much it cost to install this glass yesterday? 500,000. Gao Luofei was stunned upon hearing Sun Li's words. Although its value wasn't as high as the sandalwood from yesterday, 500,000 was still a considerable sum. And this was free. What's wrong, Luofei? Do you have any questions about the valuation? Zhao Lan asked Gao Luofei, noticing her questioning expression. Gao Luofei replied, "I don't know much about paintings, so I have no questions about the valuation. I just wanted to say that this replacement was free. Yaoli Glass delivered it to my door yesterday, saying it was to thank my husband for saving so many people, so they didn't charge me." Hearing Gao Luofei's explanation, The crowd, initially envious of her receiving 500,000 for nothing, felt a significant reduction in envy after hearing the reason for Yaoli Glass's free glass replacement. After all, yesterday's incident was incredibly dangerous. It's no exaggeration to say that Suzer risked his life for it. Since it was said that this was money given by Yaoli Glass, and not Suzer's private stash, then this 500,000 yuan naturally couldn't be counted as Suzer's private stash. Just as everyone was preparing to get up and leave, suddenly, another prominent golden bullet screen appeared in the live stream, requiring 10,000 yuan to send. Suzer, I am Zhou Huang, I was wrong, please forgive me. Suzer, I am Zhou Huang, I was wrong, please forgive me. Suzer, I am Zhou Huang, I was wrong, please forgive me. One bullet screen after another, in just 10 seconds, 33 bullet screens were sent, costing a total of 330,000 yuan. That's right, the person apologizing in the live stream at this moment was Zhou Huang himself. Yesterday, after rushing home overnight, Zhou Huang was scolded by his father. He then learned from his father that his family's company was in big trouble because he had offended someone he shouldn't have. All the companies that had previously partnered with their family started demanding payment. They wouldn't supply anything unless all payments were received in full. This was a fatal blow to a construction company. A slight misstep could lead to bankruptcy. Zhou Huang's father had pulled many strings before finally figuring out that his son had offended someone he shouldn't have, leading to this dire situation. Therefore, Zhou Huang's father called him home to discuss the matter. Zhou Huang had offended many people, but after careful consideration, they narrowed it down to Suzette. After all, it was after offending Suzette that Zhou Huang's company experienced such a drastic change. Therefore, after the program aired, Zhou Huang quickly topped up his account and sent dozens of apology messages to Suzette. Unprecedented. Mad Dog actually apologized. That's rare. Didn't he say he had connections and was powerful? Looks like he's back down now, so satisfying. Finally, someone can teach this Mad Dog a lesson. The viewers in the live stream were incredibly happy, even Bingbing, Zhaolan, Sun Li, and others were delighted. Before this, Zhou Huang's attempts to ride the wave of popularity had made them very uncomfortable. Now, seeing Zhou Huang like this, they felt a sense of revenge. However, while Zhou Huang continued to send comments in the live stream, Suzer had no intention of paying them any attention. In this world, if apologies were enough, what would be the point of the police? He should pay the price for what he did. Like to spam comments? Then go ahead and spam. As his father had instructed, Zhou Huang would continue spamming comments as long as Suzer didn't forgive him. However, after sending 160 comments at 10,000 per comment, Zhou Huang couldn't keep up. To reduce the cost, he opted to send comments at 5,000 per comment. In the end, there were 1,000 comments. Dad, this isn't working. We've already spent 3 million, and Suzer hasn't reacted at all. Seeing his 3 million savings vanish, Zhou Huang said to his father sitting beside him. Dad, this can't go on. If Suzer doesn't forgive us, can we really keep spending like this forever? Chapter 68. Don't move, you two are under arrest. Although Zhou Huang's favorite pastime, besides riding the wave of popularity, was spending money extravagantly, at least he derived pleasure from it. Whether materially or psychologically, he felt comfortable and happy spending money. But now, with 3 million gone, Zhou Huang only felt frustrated. Looking at his dwindling savings, Zhou Huang didn't want to spend any more money. Since spending money wouldn't solve the problem anyway, he might as well not spend any. Hearing Zhou Huang's words, his father, looking at his prodigal son, was furious and said, "You still have the nerve to talk? If it weren't for you, this wouldn't have happened. Do you think I'm easy to mess with? It's all because of you, you spendthrift." Growing angrier, Zhou Huang's father grabbed his slippers and smashed them against Zhou Huang's back. Seeing this, Zhou Huang wasn't about to sit idly by and let his father beat him. Naturally, he stood up and immediately began searching for a hiding place in the huge villa. Thus, Zhou Huang and his father began playing hide and seek. At this point, the apology he had been giving in the live stream stopped. Initially, when the audience saw Zhou Huang stop apologizing, they thought he had spent money on in-game purchases, but after a long period of silence, they realized he had stopped spending. This Mad Dog's fighting power isn't good either. He's out of money after 3 million, this apology is so insincere. If Zhou Huang had continued doing this and hadn't quit the internet, he could have earned tens of millions. His ambition is too small. While the audience in the live stream was discussing this, Zhou Kwang and his father also stopped their chase. The two felt exhausted, their heavy breathing labored, their skin covered in sweat, and they slumped onto the sofa to rest. Dad, if you ask me, we might be mistaken. I've looked into Suzette. While his inventive abilities are indeed impressive, that just means he's smart. Suzette is just an ordinary toy designer. So what if his wife is Gao Luofei? She's just a celebrity. How could she have such great abilities? Hearing his son's words, Zhou Kwang's father frowned, his eyes, half hidden by heavy eyelids, slightly raised as if deep in thought. But son, there are rumors that Gao Luofei might be Gao Yuanshan's daughter. Gao Yuanshan is a man with stars on his epaulets. We can't afford to offend him. Besides, everyone says this matter is related to Suzette. They can't possibly be lying to us. Businessmen are most wary of people like Gao Yuanshan. Dad, you yourself said it's just a rumor. If it were true, if Gao Luofei really was Gao Yuanshan's daughter, how could Gao Yuanshan possibly let her marry Suzette? Dad, you know those wealthy families, they all marry within their social standing. Don't you agree, Dad? Your suppliers shouldn't have lied to you, but what if someone else lied to your suppliers? What if your suppliers made a mistake themselves? Zhou Kwang continued to persuade his father. Deep down, Zhou Kwang didn't believe Suzette's methods and connections were so powerful. Putting himself in Suzette's shoes, if he had such abilities, he would be living a carefree life, not making toys like Suzette. After thinking it over, Zhou Kwang's father agreed with him. Then, son, who have you offended? Who is suppressing our family? Well, let me think about it. Zhou Kwang thought about who he had offended when his father asked. Principal Wang? It shouldn't be him. Songzhou? That doesn't seem like it either. He has nothing to do with the construction industry. Hearing the names of the people his son had offended, Zhou Kwang's father felt a few black lines appear on his forehead. Although he knew his son liked to cause trouble, he had offended far too many people. Thinking of this, Zhou Kwang's father felt a chill of fear and made up his mind to strictly control Zhou Kwang's behavior in the future. After thinking deeply, Zhou Kwang finally thought of a possible person. Dad, I think it might be, but before Zhou Kwang could finish speaking, his father's phone rang. Picking up the phone, he heard his secretary's anxious voice. Chairman, it's bad. The Tax Bureau and the Economic Crime Investigation Department are here. Our company has been seized. As soon as the secretary finished speaking, Zhou Kwang saw through the glass of his house that a group of 5 uniformed police officers were slowly walking towards them. Is this Zhou Haifeng? You are involved in a major illegal case. The facts are conclusive. We are now arresting you. This is the arrest warrant. After Zhou Haifeng saw the arrest warrant the police showed him, he was handcuffed. Seeing this, Zhou Kwang immediately said viciously, "Why are you arresting my dad? You'd better watch out, or my family will skin you alive." Hearing Zhou Kwang's words, the lead policeman's stern lips curled slightly, and he said to Zhou Kwang, right? Perfect, you're here too. Take a look at this. You are suspected of interfering with official duties, drug use, and rape. The evidence is conclusive, the facts are sufficient. Arrest him. Subsequently, Zhou Kwang suffered the same fate as Zhou Haifeng. Take them both away. With that, the police escorted the 2 men into the police car. And all of this was, of course, the punishment they deserved. The reason Zhou Kwang had been able to wait until now after his arrogance yesterday wasn't because Suzette was incompetent, but because Suzette wanted to plunge the Zhou family into the abyss in one fell swoop. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 Gao Luofei plans to buy a villa. Today, after Song Zhou finished compiling and collecting evidence against Zhou Haifeng and Zhou Kwang and reported it to the Public Security Bureau, he immediately came to arrest them. Seeing this large-scale operation, Zhou Haifeng felt a sense of unease, his heart pounded, and he felt extremely panicked. Upon arriving at the Criminal Investigation Division, Zhou Haifeng was interrogated. Initially, as a relatively experienced and successful person, Zhou Haifeng decided to refuse to confess and had his company's lawyer handle the situation. However, faced with overwhelming and clear evidence, Zhou Haifeng knew he was finished. This evidence was enough to put him in jail for 20 years. In order to obtain a lighter sentence, Zhou Haifeng confessed everything. As for Zhou Kwang, Despite his arrogance outside, once inside and faced with the irrefutable evidence, he immediately cowered and confessed to everything. Since the evidence was conclusive, there was no room for argument. Shortly after, just as the viewers in the live stream were gradually shifting their attention away from Zhou Kuang's apology, news suddenly appeared online, surprising and shocking them. Holy crap, did you guys see the news online? Zhou Kuang and his father, Zhou Heifeng, have been arrested. Looks like they've committed a serious crime. I saw it. Those two are finished. They're in for a rough time. They'll be eating government food and riding bicycles now. Not only that, didn't you see? The Zhou family's company has also collapsed. That was a multi-billion-dollar company, a sponsor of countless programs. It's probably going to go bankrupt. That's Zhou Kuang's family. No wonder they were so arrogant. So that explains it. They got what they deserved. Now, Zhou Kuang can't leave the internet even if he doesn't want to. Now that the Zhou family father and son had fallen, thanks to the digging of well-informed individuals, more and more information was being unearthed. And the more information was dug up, the more curious everyone became. The Zhou family father and son seemed perfectly fine before, so why did they fall so quickly? Who do you think the Zhou family father and son offended? How could they collapse so quickly? Yeah, that's a multi-billion-dollar company. It shouldn't have collapsed so fast. If you ask me, it's probably because of Suzette. After all, he just offended Suzette yesterday, saying he'd quit the internet if he lost. Zhou Kuang didn't keep his promise, so it's normal for Suzette to make him keep his promise. Probably not. Does Suzette have that much power? If he did, why would he be so quietly content to be an ordinary toy designer? Could it be Song Zhou? Probably not. Song Zhou's assets are about the same as the Zhou family's. However, I have a feeling this has something to do with Suzette. Suzette naturally saw the discussions among the viewers in the live stream. However, Suzette didn't intend to respond at all, simply acting as if nothing had happened. After all, to Suzette, the Zhou family father and son were nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, because today was Suzette and Gao Luofei's wedding anniversary, Suzette had already planned a very full schedule for the day. Therefore, even though the two experts from the Finding Hidden Money program wanted to find some of Suzette's hidden money at his home, they had no choice but to leave with Suzette and Gao Luofei. However, things don't always go as planned. Some things are just so coincidental. Shortly after Suzette and Gao Luofei left the house, Gao Luofei spotted a very familiar figure in the distance. The woman had a decent figure, dressed in trendy clothes, and while her skin was much better than her peers, the makeup couldn't hide the signs of age. She exuded an aura of wealth, clearly not an ordinary person. Good morning, Sister Yu. This Sister Yu, whom Gao Luofei greeted, was none other than the landlady of the place where Suzette and Gao Luofei were currently staying. It's important to know that Suzette was, on the surface, just an ordinary person with very little savings. Logically, he couldn't possibly afford such an expensive house in the Jingland residential area. Gao Luofei was very understanding of Suzette's financial situation, and she wasn't a materialistic woman. Originally, when they planned their wedding, Gao Luofei thought either she would buy a high-end villa, or Suzette would buy a simple house for their marriage. However, to provide Gao Luofei with a comfortable environment, Suzette persuaded her overnight to accept a rental agreement. In other words, the villa they currently live in is actually rented by Suzette. Because it was initially a bare shell, and Suzette and Gao Luofei did all the renovations themselves, the cost was relatively cheap. Gao Luofei pays a portion each month, while Suzette's salary contributes the majority, renting the villa from Sister Yu. Over the past year, this villa has held countless happy memories for the two of them. Gao Luofei felt the environment and service were excellent, so she considered buying it. And with the recent sale of the Mecha technology, Gao Luofei now has 100 million yuan, which she can use to buy the villa. Therefore, upon seeing Sister Yu, Gao Luofei went up to greet her, intending to discuss with her whether she could sell the villa to them. However, what Gao Luofei didn't know was that this villa had already been bought by Suzette a year ago, when the renovations were completed. Luofei, hello there. Hearing that it was Gao Luofei greeting her, Sister Yu replied with a fairly gentle attitude. Sister Yu, it's like this, I was wondering if you'd be interested in selling this villa. Chapter 70. The villa was sold to Suzette a year ago. When Gao Luofei said those words to Sister Yu, Suzette's heart skipped a beat, and he knew he was in trouble. Sue's heir had thought that since he paid the rent every month, and Sister Yu was always traveling and rarely here, Gao Luofei wouldn't have much contact with her anyway. He figured he could just tell Gao Luofei when it came time to buy the house. But unexpectedly, he saw Sister Yu today. Now, he was in trouble. While others were unaware of Sue's inner turmoil, the viewers in the live stream were filled with questions and curiosity. Could it be that Gao Luofei and Sue's are still renting? I knew it. With Sue's meager monthly salary, how could he possibly afford a villa like this? But then again, Gao Luofei is so rich, buying a villa should be a piece of cake for her. I think I saw Sue's expression change just now. Changed? I didn't notice. Are you sure you didn't see wrong? Big Bang also knew pretty much everything about the villa. Big Bang noticed the comments from the viewers in the live stream and, seeing their confusion, explained, "It's like this, when Luofei and Suze got married, Suze didn't have much savings and couldn't afford an expensive house. But he couldn't bear to see Luofei living in such a cramped place, so he rented this unfinished villa and renovated it. At the time, Suze was thinking that he would buy the villa when he had the money. Yesterday, Suze sold some of his Mecha technology, and Luofei happened to see the landlord, so she decided to see if she could buy the villa." After Bing Bing's explanation, everyone understood what had happened. So that's how it is. Sue's heir has quite the backbone. Pressure is a motivator. It's tiring, but it's not bad, but now it's all good. Yesterday we found out Sue's heir has so much money. Buying a villa like this is a piece of cake. This is another crucial step for Suze and Gao Luofei, happy for the goddess. Finally, she can have a home. Look, although the goddess said she made some money, to be able to confidently buy a villa, that must be a lot of money, definitely. That's Mecha technology. Its value is incomparable. Sister Yu is a veritable rich woman and a real estate tycoon. She owns at least 30 or 40 properties. She usually collects rent from all the tenants online, so she doesn't remember them all very well. Therefore, when she heard Gao Luofei call out to her, wanting to buy a house from her, Sister Yu didn't react for a moment. "Mom, which of my apartments are you renting?" "I'm sorry, I own quite a few apartments, so you understand I didn't mean to do that." Sister Yu thought for a moment. She had previously bought villa number 18 in Jinlin to rent out, but later sold it. Now, besides the apartment she was going to live in, it seemed there were no other apartments for rent in the Jinlin community. Could it be a tenant from another community? Just as Sister Yu was filled with curiosity, Gao Luofei overheard what Sister Yu was saying and understood her behavior perfectly. Gao Luofei wasn't embarrassed at all. Her expression was dignified, and she smiled gently as she said directly, "Sister Yu, I rented your villa at number 18 in Jinlin community. My name is Gao Luofei, and my husband is Suzette. My husband, Suzette, pays the rent every month, villa number 18 in Jinlin community." Hearing Gao Luofei's name, Sister Yu thought for a moment, then said, "Oh, Ms. Gao, I think you might be mistaken. I sold villa no. 18 in Jinlin community a year ago. The seller's surname seems to be Su, but I've completely forgotten the exact name. Excuse me, I'll be going now." Sister Yu had urgent business to attend to, so after saying goodbye to Gao Luofei, she left. After watching Sister Yu's retreating figure, Gao Luofei turned to Suze beside her, extended her hand, and remained silent for a long time. The viewers in the live stream naturally saw this. Seeing this scene, the viewers in the live stream immediately burst into laughter. This Suze isn't being honest. He must have been secretly hiding the rent every month. I was even a little touched just now, but I didn't expect Suze to do this. He bought the villa a long time ago and didn't even tell the goddess. That's too much. Suze's secret stash of money has been discovered again. A villa like that must be worth tens of millions. I checked, and now the price per square meter in Jinlin community is around 90,000 yuan. Suze's villa should be worth around 30 million. We'll have to wait for the property certificate to find out the exact amount. It'll be clearly written on the property certificate. Seeing Gao Luofei's bright eyes staring directly at him, her delicate white hands outstretched towards him, Suze knew he had to explain himself. Suze reached out and took Gao Luofei's delicate white hands in his, then explained to her, "Wife, this was my fault. I shouldn't have kept it from you. Actually, I couldn't afford it originally, but Songzhou had a research problem that I happened to solve, and he gave me some money. That's good. This money can buy this villa, so I bought it. At first, I was thinking of telling you, to surprise you, But I saw that you always dreamed of saving money together to buy our first house, so I didn't tell you, wife. There's 504,315 yuan in this bank card. The rent for the past year is all here, not a penny has been touched, SSS said, taking out a bank card and handing it to Gao Luofei. Chapter 71 Live Broadcast. This is an insult to my underhanded methods. Besides the monthly rent, there was also this money deposited in the bank, earning interest. It totaled exactly 504,315 yuan. This meant that Suzette genuinely had no intention of using the money for anything necessitated by hiding it. Although Suzette had a secret stash of money, he hadn't done anything to betray Gao Luofei. Therefore, upon seeing the bank card Suzette offered, Gao Luofei didn't take it. Instead, she slowly shook her head, pushed the card towards Suzette, and then put it in his pocket. Gao Luofei blinked her bright eyes at Suzette and said, "Honey, since that's how it is, I forgive you, honey. Keep this money for yourself. Use it whenever you need it. Just don't hide these things from me in the future." Looking at the considerate Gao Luofei, Suzette nodded. Seeing this, those who were initially gloating, anticipating how Gao Luofei would punish Suzette for hiding his secret stash of money, were surprised by the outcome. This isn't what I wanted to see. Why am I being forced to eat dog food again? Although he didn't spend the money, I think this act of hiding money should still be criticized a little. If this were my wife, she would have already started beating me up. She's acting too calmly. Just how much secret money does Suzette have? Tens of millions again. That's terrifying. Suzette is too low-key. With this level of skill, why is he even a toy designer? Isn't this a joke? However, Gao Luofei and the others ignored the comments from the live stream viewers. After understanding the situation, Bingbing spoke up. Although the production team didn't discover Suzette's hidden stash of money, it's still ultimately Suzette's private money. Therefore, the value of this villa will be included in the total amount of Suzette's hidden stash. As for the specific value of this hidden stash, it needs to be calculated based on the building area of the house on the property certificate. Jinlin Community, as a high-end villa area, is most renowned for the unique building area and layout of each villa, making a generalization impossible. The specific price needs to be determined by multiplying the building area of each villa by the current price per square meter. However, today is a special day, and Suzette can't go get the property certificate now. Seeing that Gao Luofei was in a good mood, Suzette said to her, "Wife, let's go." Hearing Bingbing's introduction to the live stream audience, Suzette quickly diverted Gao Luofei's attention. At this moment, the last thing Suzette wanted was for Gao Luofei to see the property certificate. Because some information on the property certificate was inconvenient for Gao Luofei to view, especially with the Finding Hidden Money program crew present, they would definitely notice something amiss if they saw the certificate. Therefore, Suzette wanted to take Gao Luofei away from this troublesome place. However, Bingbing and the others thought they could discuss it later, but Gao Luofei took Suzette's hand and, while walking into the house, turned to Bingbing and the others, saying, "Come on. Let's go out later and see how much this house costs." Hearing Gao Luofei's words, Suzette forced a smile and said to her, "Wife, I have a lot of things planned for today. Why don't we go out and have some fun first, and then talk about it after today?" Suzette asked Gao Luofei tentatively. Knowing Gao Luofei as he did, Suzette believed that if she had fun today, she would most likely forget about this matter. However, things didn't go as planned. At this moment, Gao Luofei, compared to the activities Suzette had arranged, seemed to have developed a strong interest in the house, specifically the value of the villa. This interest far surpassed that of any other activity. "It'll only be a little while, it's fine, it won't take long, honey, hurry up and get the property certificate. I want to see our first house, honey. Why do I feel like you're a little unhappy?" Gao Luofei said excitedly to Suzette, but when she noticed Suzette's somewhat unnatural expression, she asked him with a hint of doubt. Hearing Gao Luofei's words, Suzette quickly replied, "Unhappy? How could that be? What could be unhappy about? Honey, wait a minute, I'll go get it for you." With that, Suzette went to get the property certificate. Suzette's actions were naturally noticed by the viewers in the live stream. The viewers began to discuss Suzette's unusual reaction. What did Suzette's expression mean just now? What does it mean? Probably because the goddess's name isn't on the property deed, and he's afraid she'll be angry. Doesn't seem like it. I have a feeling Suzette is hiding something, he just doesn't know what it is right now. Just as the viewers in the live stream were waiting for Suzette to produce the property deed, in a nearby ordinary-looking house, a computer was set up. Sitting in an office chair in front of the computer was a man wearing dark blue trousers. His face was obscured by a white baseball cap, but a clear wound could be vaguely seen near his eye. Since the Fallen Angel mission failed, the higher-ups in the United States decided to send the veteran Black Hand to complete the next mission. Is this Suzette and Gao Luofei? Knowing that I, Black Hand, am coming, they actually dared to broadcast Suzette and Gao Luofei's location live. Are they looking down on me, Black Hand? The Fallen Angels are truly a bunch of idiots. Chapter 72. This villa has a basement. That's right, the man at this moment is none other than Black Hand, sent by the United States to accept the Fallen Angel mission. Ever since his failed mission in Hongdu and subsequent reassignment, Black Hand has been eager to avenge himself, especially to make Revival, whose true identity remains unknown, pay the price. Over the years, even with extensive investigations, Black Hand hasn't uncovered many clues about Revival. However, since he's back in Hongdu, Black Hand plans to begin his revenge with the incident involving Suzette and Gao Luofei. As the saying goes, knowing yourself and your enemy is the key to victory. Before each mission, Black Hand meticulously researches his target. Therefore, besides basic information about Suzette and Gao Luofei, he spent the entire night watching all the videos from yesterday that he could find. After watching, Black Hand had a high opinion of the Mecha. However, in Black Hand's view, the Mecha's limitations were still too great. After all, donning the Mecha suit would take too long, giving Black Hand ample time to kidnap Suzette and Gao Luofei. Charlotte, Jennifer, you two go to Jinlin residential area and lie in ambush, awaiting my orders, Black Hand said to his two subordinates via communicator. Charlotte and Jennifer immediately began their operation upon hearing Black Hand's command. Honey, why did it take you so long to find a property certificate? Gao Luofei asked Suzette, noticing he'd been searching for almost 10 minutes. Wife, it's been hidden for so long, I didn't remember. I just remembered, Suzette explained. Because this property certificate was among the first things hidden, Suzette's memory of it was quite vague. He'd searched for many property certificates, but they were all for other houses. He only remembered where he hid it at the last minute, otherwise, he would have searched for even longer. Gao Luofei didn't think much of Suzette's answer. She took the coveted red property certificate, its gold lettering indicating it was for property ownership, and began to examine it. How could this be? Gao Luofei exclaimed in surprise when she saw a particular piece of information on the certificate. Hearing her surprised tone, everyone assumed something serious had happened to the certificate, and Bing Bing and the others crowded around to check. The live stream camera also discreetly focused on the certificate. When everyone saw the information clearly, they understood why Gao Luofei was so surprised. Honey, why is my name on the property certificate? Indeed, the property certificate clearly listed both Suzette's and Gao Luofei's names. Gao Luofei clearly remembered that the property certificate required the applicant's personal presence. Why was her name on the certificate when she hadn't even been there? However, Gao Luofei suddenly remembered that Suzette had once asked her to sign something. She was busy at the time and hadn't looked closely. Now that she thought about it, that document must have been some kind of authorization letter. Honey, you really didn't need to do that. I'm not that kind of woman, Gao Luofei pouted and said to Suzette. Looking at Gao Luofei's cute pout, Suzette pinched her cheek and replied, I know you're not that kind of person, my little darling, but since this is our first house together, it should naturally have both of our names on it. Suzette's heartwarming words warmed Gao Luofei's heart, while Bing Bing and her group at the scene, as well as the viewers in the live stream, looked at Gao Luofei with envy. Suzette is so sweet. Such an expensive house, and he added her name to the property deed without her knowledge. So considerate and lucky. Have you seen some guys like this? They proactively add girls' names to the property deed. We girls just want an attitude, not actually the house. Look who she is. It's Gao Luofei. If you were that pretty and gentle, we'd add her name too. There aren't many good men like Suzette these days. I'm so envious of Gao Luofei, I declare. I'm shipping Suzette and Gao Luofei. Anyone who tries to break them up, I'll fight them. However, while Gao Luofei and Suzette were enjoying their sweet moment, Sun Li looked at the 630 square meters of building area on the property deed and began to calculate in his mind. As a top appraiser, Sun Li possessed extraordinary accuracy in determining the size and weight of various objects. Sun began mentally calculating the area of Suze's house. The first floor was approximately 181 square meters, the second floor tentatively 133 square meters, the third floor tentatively 123 square meters. Based on the villa's exterior and its attached facilities, Sun realized that no matter how he calculated it, the actual building area of the villa was nowhere near 630 square meters. There were generally only two possibilities for this. One possibility was that the building area on the property certificate was incorrect. This wasn't unheard of. However, Sun then thought that a high-end villa in Jinlan community wouldn't make such a mistake. After all, a difference of 1 square meter could amount to tens of thousands of yuan. A difference of nearly 100 square meters was several million yuan. With that much money, the building area listed on the property certificate couldn't possibly be wrong. Since the first possibility was impossible, only the second possibility remained. There was a secret room beneath the villa. A secret room with an area of less than 100 square meters. Chapter 73. The basement has finally been found. Compared to Sun Li, the viewers in the live stream were astonished by the building area on the property certificate. 630 square meters, that's huge. At 80,000 yuan per square meter, building a villa would cost 50 million yuan. What did Suze do to earn so much money to buy such a large villa, including the price of the house? Suze's secret stash must be close to 100 million yuan. This is definitely the guest with the most hidden savings in the show's history. It's outrageous. What's wrong, Mr. Sun? Seeing Sun frowning and searching around, Xiaolan slowly approached him and asked in a low voice. Hearing Xiaolan's question, Sun told her what he was thinking. After hearing Sun question, Xiaolan also noticed the anomaly on the property certificate. However, after Gao Luofei had thoroughly examined all the information on the property certificate, unfortunately, there was no floor plan on it. Since they couldn't get a clue from the floor plan, they could only ask Suze and Gao Luofei. Although Gao Luofei's family didn't lack property certificates, this one held special significance, and Gao Luofei was currently quite fond of it. Although Gao Luofei didn't understand what kind of program Suze would organize for her today, the unexpected property certificate alone had already made her very satisfied. Luofei, does your house have a basement? Xiaolan asked, her lips slightly parted, addressing Gao Luofei, who was excitedly flipping through the property certificate. Hearing Xiaolan's question, Suze's right eye twitched. Sure enough, this matter couldn't be avoided. Basement? No, I've never heard of one. Why do you ask, Sister Lan? Having lived here for a year, Gao Luofei truly didn't recall this villa having a basement. Luofei, look, your property certificate says it's 630 square meters. Even with a shared area, after calculation, nearly 100 square meters are still missing. I think there should be a basement under this villa. Hearing Xiaolan's words, Gao Luofei understood why Xiaolan was asking this. Although we don't know if part of the area is a basement, based on the building area on the property certificate, the current value of this villa is about 50 million, that is to say, Mr. Suze's hidden savings have now reached 91.3 million. At the same time, after Bingbing finished announcing, the total amount of hidden savings in the upper right corner of the live broadcast room also became 91.3 million. Looking at this eye-catching number, both the viewers in the live broadcast room and the parties involved, Gao Luofei, Bingbing, and others, felt somewhat incredulous. This was the first time they had seen someone who could hide so much money. Mr. Suze's hidden savings are really a bit unexpected. Xiaolan looked at Suze and teased. Hearing Xiaolan's teasing, Suze didn't say anything, just stood there quietly. However, Song Zhou, sitting in front of his computer watching the live stream, chuckled softly. 90 million is nothing, not even a fraction. Having managed Suze's business for so many years, Song Zhou had a very detailed understanding of Suze's assets. It was precisely because of this understanding that Song Zhou knew that 90 million was just a drop in the ocean for Suzette. Song Zhou, what are you saying? What's wrong with Suzette? Marui, who was drying her hair with a towel and walking towards Song Zhou, vaguely heard him muttering something about Suzette and asked curiously. Hearing Marui's question, Song Zhou quickly shook his head and denied it, saying, nothing. Honey, do you know about this? Gao Luofei really didn't have much of an impression of the basement. Turning to look at Suzette, she thought, when we rented this villa, Suzette was the first to come and see it. He should remember something. Hearing Gao Luofei's question, Suze's heart was unsettled. Knowing Gao Luofei as he did, Suzanne knew she would be keeping this in mind ever since she found out. Even if she didn't say anything now, she would probably look for the basement in other ways. Look at Suzanne's reaction. It seems there's something fishy about this basement. I'm curious now, what could be in the basement? Without a doubt, there's definitely some hidden money of Suzanne's in the basement. Just as the viewers in the live stream were discussing this matter, Suzanne, who was being watched by Gao Luofei and her group, finally spoke up. Wife, there's indeed a basement in our house. After Suzanne confirmed it, Gao Luofei said to him, honey, since there's a basement, why didn't you tell me? Hearing Gao Luofei's question, Suzanne replied, I used this basement to store some things, so I didn't tell you. What things? I don't know, honey. Hurry up and open the basement, let me see what's inside. Hearing what Suzanne said, Gao Luofei scrutinized him and urged him to open the basement. Suzanne's behavior made Gao Luofei understand why he hadn't wanted her to see the property certificate earlier. It turned out it was because of this. At the same time, Gao Luofei wondered what Suzanne was hiding in the basement that he hadn't told her. Suzanne was so mysterious, there must be a big secret waiting for her to uncover in the basement. Hearing Gao Luofei's urging, Suzanne, under everyone's watchful eyes, went to a nearby wall and gently pressed down. Click accompanied by a crisp sound, everyone saw an opening slowly appear in the ground not far away. Chapter 74 The Unexpected Basement. The opening gradually widened, eventually reaching a size of 2 meters x 2 meters, just right for passage. Upon approaching the opening, the group saw a set of steps leading directly down. The steps appeared very clean, suggesting regular cleaning. Although the angle prevented a clear view of the basement below, the bright lighting, the white marble steps, and the white plastered walls suggested a decent level of renovation. Suzanne led the way. Gao Luofei said angrily to Suzanne, looking at the basement she had never seen before. She addressed Suzanne by his first name instead of husband, clearly showing her anger. Suzanne knew he had been wrong to keep it from Gao Luofei. Therefore, Suzanne had no complaints. Hearing what Gao Luofei said, Suzanne took the lead, and under everyone's gaze, he went down the smooth, white marble steps towards the basement. These steps are a bit slippery, so be careful when you come down. Slowly, Suzanne's figure disappeared from the entrance. Following Suzanne, Gao Luofei, Bingbing, and the others entered the basement one after another. The decoration level of this basement is more high-end than my house. This is a basement? This is too luxurious. Even a passageway is decorated so grandly. What kind of basement did Suzanne make it into? The lighting was very bright, and it was not dark at all despite being underground. Therefore, through the live broadcast camera, the many viewers in the live broadcast room could clearly see the general situation of this staircase passageway. According to the logic of ordinary people, such a place is not open to outsiders and is a hidden space, so no one would put so much effort into decorating it too elaborately. But now that Suzanne has decorated even a single stepway so elaborately, it is clear that Suzanne was not short of money when decorating. This means that Suzanne's way of thinking, from the very beginning, wasn't that of a normal person. Rather, he was someone who wouldn't consider money too much when doing something. Actually, the viewers in the live stream were overthinking it. The reason the villa was decorated like this was simply because Suzanne secretly had Songzhou's people arrange the decoration according to Gao Luofei's style. All of this was Songzhou's doing, and Suzanne was speechless when he saw the situation. Suzanne went down the steps, and not long after, a heavy, gray-black door appeared before everyone. The door looked very heavy, without any keypad, handles, or similar devices. There were also no cameras or similar devices around the door. Based on my experience, this door should be at the same security level as a bank vault door. The value of this door alone should be at least 2 or 3 million, Sun Li said, resting his chin on his hand as he analyzed the situation. Hearing Sun Li's words, Gao Luofei and the others became even more curious. A single gate is worth 2 or 3 million, just imagine how valuable the items hidden behind it must be. Thinking that Suzanne had secretly hidden such expensive things behind her back, Gao Luofei approached Suzanne, extending her slender white fingers to give him a friendly, discreet tap on his waist. Husband, you've kept this from me so well. Seeing Gao Luofei's slightly menacing smile, Suzanne returned it with a smile. Wife, don't be angry yet. Look how many people are here. We'll talk about it privately later. This door doesn't have a handle or a combination lock or anything like that. How do we open it? Exactly. Is it facial recognition? But that doesn't make sense. I don't see any cameras. Just as everyone was wondering how the door would open, a series of mechanical sounds came from the gate. Ding. System is automatically monitoring. Ding. Visitor detected as Suzette. Unlocking. Unlock complete. Welcome Mr. Suzette. Door opening. After the system notification, the heavy door slowly opened inward, stopping only when it was just wide enough for one person to pass through. Looking at the inexplicably open door, everyone was puzzled as to how it detected the visitor, but it felt incredibly cool, very high-tech and futuristic. Compared to the others, Gao Luofei had some vague guesses in her mind. Come in. Hearing Suzette's greeting, Gao Luofei and her group followed him through the door. When they entered, they were all stunned by the scene inside. Gao Luofei, looking at the scene before her, involuntarily covered her mouth with her hands, her bright eyes scanning everything in the room, her expression filled with disbelief and excitement. Holy crap, this is outrageous, there are so many. Damn, I'm so envious, this is inside the door. I never expected this. The reason everyone was so surprised was that on the four walls of this room, which was about 30 square meters in size, a series of images were dynamically displayed, accompanied by the sound of speakers. The main characters in these images were Suzette and Gao Luofei. Chapter 75 Suzette's Identity Unveiled, Honorary Professor. The walls of the room were covered in animated images depicting moments between Suzette and Gao Luofei. There were photos of them hiking together, watching movies, their first date with a candlelight dinner, and them leaning against each other under the stars, gazing at the sky. The images were incredibly beautiful and moving, every frame could be used as wallpaper. I thought Suzette was hiding something in this basement, but instead I'm just being fed dog food. I'm going to throw up. Does it have to be this sweet? My girlfriend is right here, I'd definitely want that too. You guys should just kill the dog. I can't take it anymore. The viewers in the live stream probably just thought the images were pretty, but most felt overwhelmed by the sweetness, feeling both envious and jealous. But Gao Luofei, as the person involved, understood that these images were cherished memories of her time with Suzette. Seeing these images, Gao Luofei felt as if she were back in those moments, and a happy smile appeared on her face. Honey, you've kept all these photos. Gao Luofei's expression and tone towards Suzette were completely different from her earlier angry expression. Of course. These are precious memories of us together, how could I possibly lose them? Seeing Gao Luofei's expression, Suzette breathed a sigh of relief. Judging by Gao Luofei's current level of satisfaction, even if she saw something later, she wouldn't be so angry. So, wife, do you like them? Suzette asked Gao Luofei gently. Hearing Suzette's question, Gao Luofei nodded repeatedly with satisfaction. I like them very much, honey, I'm sorry, did I hurt you just now? Saying this, Gao Luofei placed her hand on her waist, which she had twisted earlier, and gently rubbed it, hoping to alleviate Suzette's pain. It's okay, wife, it doesn't hurt. While Suzette and Gao Luofei were being affectionate, Xiaolan, Sun Li, and the others, filled with curiosity, came to the animated wall to take a look. At first, Xiaolan, Sun Li, and the others thought it was an effect projected onto the wall. However, after looking around, they couldn't see any projector. This was strange. If there was no projector, how did the image appear on the wall? Xiaolan approached the wall and reached out to touch it, expecting to touch the cold surface. But to her surprise, her hands passed straight through the image. Meanwhile, Suzette, out of the corner of his eye, glanced at Bingbing and the others when Gao Luofei wasn't looking. When Suzette saw the three of them touching the image, he knew that what was hidden in the basement couldn't be kept secret any longer. Actually, the things stored in the basement weren't particularly valuable, totaling less than 10 million. However, the most important thing was that Suzette had simply displayed some of his certificates and honors in the basement. Besides various awards from childhood, the most crucial piece of evidence was an honor awarded 6 months ago by Suzette, an honorary professor at the world-renowned Imperial University, for leading numerous outstanding students from the university to overcome a global challenge related to virtual imaging technology. The image displayed in the basement that everyone was seeing was the final product of Suzette's breakthrough in virtual imaging technology. It seemed that Gao Luofei and her group were about to discover these documents today. Could it be virtual imaging technology, given the situation? Virtual imaging technology was the only thing Xiaolan could imagine. With these questions in mind, Xiaolan, Sun Li, and Bingbing nodded, then passed through the wall, their bodies seemingly swallowed up, completely disappearing from the view of the live stream audience. Bingbing and the others have disappeared. Holy crap, I thought this was just a wall, but it turns out to be a virtual projection. Is this virtual imaging technology? The image is so realistic. Virtual imaging technology? Impossible. Huoxin Group, which is based at Imperial University, claims to be the only company in the world to have solved the problems related to virtual imaging technology. It seems they're releasing the world's first civilian virtual imaging product tomorrow. How could a virtual imaging device appear here? Whether it's possible or not, let's go and see for ourselves. Let the facts speak for themselves. Cameraman, why don't you go and take a look too? Stop filming this stuff, it's so boring. At this moment, the viewers in the live stream were even more curious about what was behind the scenes, showing Susan and Gao Luofei's affectionate moments. And it wasn't just the viewers in the live stream. Gao Luofei herself also became curious. Gao Luofei had also thought it was a wall, but it turned out to be a virtual image that was incredibly realistic. Gao Luofei moved closer, and even at such close range, she couldn't detect anything fake. Filled with curiosity, Gao Luofei, along with Susan and Bingbing, stepped into the wall. Once inside, Gao Luofei was greeted by a living room decorated in the exact same style as the previous home. This living room was quite large, roughly 20 or 30 square meters. Inside, there was a brown sofa, a desk, a television, and even a window. Gentle sunlight streamed through the window, filling the entire living room, completely lacking the oppressive feeling of a basement. However, this was quite incongruous. How could a basement have windows? Just as Gao Luofei was wondering, Bingbing, who had arrived earlier, cleared up her doubts. Fifei, those aren't real windows, they're virtual. That's right, apart from the sofa and other items, the windows and sunlight were all fake. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.